Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the GTP podcast. I'm here with Cascade.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Today, we are actually going to be talking about the Resident Evil show on Netflix. The first 10 minutes will be a spoiler-free discussion slash review, and then we are going to move on after that to spoilers. So this is your warning. If you listen past the first 10 minutes or so, you're going to enter spoiler territory. So if you have not finished watching the show and you don't want it spoiled, please go finish it first. I don't want you come crying to me when I spoil the show for you. But yeah, so the Resident Evil Netflix show. I had very low expectations for it as we started, as like the trailers came out, because of Welcome to Raccoon City. Like, I was so hyped for that movie. That movie let me down so bad that when this show started showing the first couple trailers, I was like, it's probably gonna suck. As Netflix like promoted it more and more, I started getting like a little more hype for it. Like, I was getting a little excited for a thing. All right, this actually might have potential. So Thursday hit. I watched the entire show, like almost in one sitting. I watched most of it, and then I had to take a little bit of a break and watch the final episode like later when I got home because I watched most of it at work and everything. So by episode 4, I pretty much was almost done. I wasn't gonna continue it. I felt like quitting. Then I watched episode 5, and that, in my opinion, is the best episode in the entire season. And I see a lot of people saying that episode 5 is the best episode. So that gave me just the enough power and like strength to get through the last 3 episodes. And that episode 5 was just a tease. The last 3 episodes, the show goes so far down to like complete disappointment. And just to the fact that as a Resident Evil fan, you almost feel hurt. Like, just, it's the knife is in you and they're twisting it, and they're just, at this point, they're just it's already dead. Just finish it off. Like, it's just not gonna go any further. I've said this to Layla, and I think I said a couple times to some other people. I'm not sure if I said it to you yet, but in my opinion, this is probably the worst Resident Evil thing that I have witnessed out of any games, entertainment, anything. Like, even Gaiden is better. This made Welcome to Raccoon City look like a 3.5-star movie. Um, this like this has hit all-time low for me for Resident Evil. Like, I don't know how they're gonna come back from this. They better hope Resident Evil 4 remake is amazing, because something needs to come in soon to save Resident Evil from me right now. I've been hurt by this. Yeah, you know, I still recommend watch it because some people do like it, and I don't want you thinking by me saying this. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion of the show. This is not an attack at you or anybody that's watching it, but I don't know how you can like it. As a Resident Evil fan, how can you say, I like this show? This show is absolutely horrible. It's an embarrassment. And I really think Netflix just needs to cancel it and not even think about a season 2. I know as of today on Saturday, the July 16th, it is number 1. It finally beat out Stranger Things for the most watched show right now. So people are watching this more than Stranger Things. So I know Netflix is probably going to do a season 2, and I'm afraid. But who knows, maybe they will listen to the critical reviews of fans and they'll do some adjusting for season 2 if there is even one. But for me, this show, I honestly, out of 10, like 0 to 10, I give this maybe 1.72. I will get more into why I kind of didn't give this a 0 in the spoiler free, well, not the spoiler free, but the spoiler discussion. But for now, like, this show just is like bottom out, just horrible for me. But Cascade, what did you think?
Well, I mean, we've had several iterations of the franchise take in movie form. Um, for me personally, the animated films, ironically enough, always seems to be the ones that I probably the most fond of. But we have the Anderson films, we had Welcome to Raccoon City, and now we have um, whatever the fuck this is. So, uh, yeah, I mean, for a while, we just been continuously getting burned, right? Um, we've never been. I never thought the day would come where I would look back with a fondness towards the Anderson films. But the more things and the more times that this happens, I find that I'm looking to them as probably some of the better films in the franchise, which is absolutely stifling, right? To hear
Well,
someone say.
like
Um,
I'm the same way. Like I look back now and I'm like, you know what? Those Anderson films, they're not too bad. Like looking at what we've been getting recently, like
well,
it's
I mean, dude, it's like watching the worst case of identity theft, right? I mean, it would be for me personally, watching what's happened with the movies is like watching someone that I love fall victim to identity theft, and then the person actually convinces the rest of the world that that is who they actually are. If that makes any sense,
no, that does. Yeah, that does.
like, like they say that it's Resident Evil, but like we know that it's not. But now, so many people have seen bad iterations of the franchise and like things that are like this that now they think that this is what Resident Evil is.
No, it's exactly. I read a review and I forget which website reviewed it. I think it may have been Yahoo. I have to do my research, but they said like Resident. It was like titled like Resident Evil: The Series That Won't Die, and like
It,
that's being
yeah,
that's an attack at the games because the games are progressively getting a little bit better. Like they definitely took a little bit of a dip. I still don't hate 5. I don't hate 6. I actually when I played through 6 on my channel with Layla, I actually enjoyed it like a little bit more and it actually kind of went up on my list of the games and everything.
right.
So in my opinion, like, they can't say that. They have to say like the media side of Resident Evil has to die at some point, like because the games are still holding out strong.
Right,
And
very strong
you
actually, and
can't
the remakes are really helping with that. I
oh
feel.
yeah, big time. And you have to classify there's live action Resident Evil and then there's video game Resident Evil. They're two completely separate things, but people do seem like you're saying people are starting to get them mixed up, thinking they're all one big same story.
I mean, what you put out there is your identity, right? So, like, the fact that now there's probably more content that's like this out there than there is the content that like really started this whole thing and kept it and has kept it going. Um, you know, you start to wonder like, what is it going to be like in a couple of years? Like, is this what everything is going to be like? Are the games going to start to be like this? Which they kind of, I mean, they definitely already have. I mean, if you look at, and we'll kind of get into that when we get to the spoiler section of this, but there's a lot of aspects of this show that reflect um, the newer vision of the franchise rather than what like its roots. Um, but yeah, I mean, you wonder how many times that this really could happen, right? So I mean, they trust Sony to make Welcome to Raccoon City. Um, the show launches, or the movie launches rather, um, the day before Thanksgiving, a day where they know that nobody is going to be going in to see the movie, probably because they knew how bad it was.
Yeah, except me, which I bought tickets for premiere opening night, so I was there on a Tuesday night, the night before
Yeah,
it gets released to go see it.
right, right, right. But you go from that, and then you're kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy how we just keep falling for the same card trick, right? Like
Yeah, I
they
mean, like,
they promise through a few trailers like what a series is going to be. They kind of build it up and make it seem like no, no, no. The last one was like they're kind of like drug dealers a little bit.
Yeah, they're making it.
Kind of like the last batch you think I gave you was good. Wait till you see this shit. Like kind of mentality, you know what I mean? And then you end up with a script that looks like an AI watched like 100 hours of Resident Evil and then tried to make a like a TV show.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Or like they had it watch all the Paul W. Anderson movies, and they had it watch all the games, and like, all right, now make something for us. And
Yeah, and I said in the Discord like there are, and I'll get more into why, but the core plot of the I've seen better plots in Walgreens erotic novels than what we got here. This is truly Resident Evil on the CW.
oh no, it really was. It looked like
Uh,
it had the quality of a Netflix show. Like some of the CG looked good. I said I won't say what CG because again I don't want to get into spoiler territory right here. But some of the stuff definitely had like the Netflix look, but the story looked like you said it belongs on the CW after like the Flash comes on at night or something.
yes, yes, I very much agree with that, and I think what and here's kind of where media has taken a big change, right? Is how exposure works. Now, years ago, if you put out a movie and it was bad, it bombed. And you could tell, like you'd be like, all right, this movie made no money at the box office, blah blah blah. But in today's world, when a project gets greenlit, there's um, the only thing that really matters to them is exposure, right? Are you getting those clicks and are you getting those views on the streaming platform?
Yeah.
So if you could put out a show theoretically that is terrible, but because it got the views, it's deemed a success, which was my fear for Welcome to Raccoon City, which is now my fear for this. Um, and what you kind of continuously see with Capcom and with this franchise and a lot of other ones is the fans are the ones who do it right and really step up to the plate um, to conceptualize and put out there what we want to see. And we're very lucky in this community because we have a lot of good, very talented people who are making content and um, know the community, know the backstory, know what people want to see, and help to actualize something that they really want and not something that a room full of suits want.
No, I fully agree with that, and like you're saying, like that is true about the viewership thing. Like all Netflix is gonna see is how many people binge this show, and now as that's almost like a trap
Yeah.
because probably almost most every single Resident Evil fan is probably binging this show over the weekend,
Yes.
and as it comes to most Resident Evil media, so you have the YouTube channel like the Residents of Evil. You have Tony's channel, New to Retro Reviews, Beggy's channel, Beggy Beg Beg and all that stuff. They kind of, even if they hate it, like they still have to watch it to the end because if they want to put like a review out for it or if they want to talk about it, they do have to watch it from start to finish so they can honestly give their full opinion about it. So
Which I think is good, right? So
yeah,
like
which is
if
which is the reason why I finished watching it because I says I want to do this, so I need to finish watching this show because I can't just go trash it and be someone who didn't finish it.
that's right.
And
And what we see unfortunately with a lot of corners of this franchise space is a lot of people um, were really hitting this show like before. Oh wow, I don't know if Spacebar did that. They were they were uh, they were really ragging on um, the character choices the storyline, which I understand out of the most of the complaints, really beating on the actors and kind of very reminiscent of what happened with Welcome to Raccoon City, where people were very vocally upset about the actor choices, um, plot choices, character development, things like that. Um, we see all of that again here, right? So, like with Wesker's character this time, who, by the way, I think did a tremendous job given what he was provided. Um, I think he's a very talented actor. And I think out of all of the characters in the show, I think he probably was the one who stood out the most. We'll kind of get into that a little bit as well in the next couple of minutes here, but um, yeah, I mean, breakout roles obviously for some of these actors, at least for me. A lot of actors that I haven't seen before that really didn't stand out too much. The main protagonists are really nothing to write home about. Um, but
Oh no, I fully
a
agree
lot
with you
of the
there.
same, a lot of the same gripes from the last content that we got.
Oh no, totally, totally. And I honestly like I feel bad because I know the same thing is going to happen with this show that happened with Welcome to Raccoon City, where I'm afraid that the actors are going to get attacked, and like I'm afraid that Lance
Yeah,
is going to get a blunt of the hate when like you said he is honestly the most outstanding part of this show. His performance as Wesker is really good, and that's part of why I didn't like because some of the performances are good. Like I've said also, like I really liked his character as Wesker, and I also really liked I don't know her name, but the girl that played young Billy in the show. Like I felt like she put on a good performance throughout the show and everything. But like you were saying, just with some of these actors, never heard of them, never seen them. A lot of them look like dollar store versions of other actors, which I'll get into
yes.
later. I actually have notes written down for that. Um, but no, like I said, they can't be blamed for this, and that's a huge thing towards people because I know people attacked the actress that played Jill. I forget her name, but she definitely got attacked on social media to the point where she had to private her Instagram and Twitter account. Same thing with the actor that played Leon. He had to private and he had to go off the grid for a little while because he was just receiving so much hate.
Oh,
And
dude, he was living like Jason Bourne for like a couple of
yeah,
months.
no, like
That was crazy. I look, it should never get to that point, right?
no, and I
Like,
hope people don't start attacking these poor because like you gotta remember like two of these actors. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked too much into the child actors in the show, and, like what age they are. But I would say like young Billy and young Jade, they're probably like I don't know, probably 16 or 17-year old. I know they're 14 in the show and everything, and when they do it in the show. But I hope people don't attack these children for like a show that's none their fault whatsoever. They got their big break. Cause I've never seen them before in anything, and for them this is like could be their big. They thought this could be my big break. I got a Netflix show. I'm like one of the leading actresses. Yeah, like they did their job. Like I hope just no one attacks them. If anything, you gotta attack Netflix for this, for them even like approving that this was okay, knowing the past of Resident Evil, and basically they know how fans feel about live action stuff right now.
and I mean, look, um, I try to give everybody a chance, right? So like, even if they want to take some creative liberty with characters visually, I'm okay with that as long as the character development makes sense and serves the plot in a constructive way, right?
Yeah.
So, um, Lance, great choice, in my opinion. Great choice, great actor. Really brought the best performance I think that he was able to do with the script he was given. Um, but you know, when I say creative liberty, I don't mean like it has to have plot. You have to have a good plot, and like this has been the main gripe, right? If you pull apart all the layers of this, what it really boils down to is you end up giving these movies to creative teams that have successfully worked on other projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you think that you should be able to trust their vision of what the movie or show should be. Um, and they're just incredibly disconnected with the lore. You know, it seems like you get scraps. You know what I mean? You get like shreds of something you might recognize, and they think that if they put enough of that in whatever you're watching, that it will be sufficient to pass whatever kind of plot they want.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
So
But yeah,
yeah,
like out of like kind of like what I did, like out of like 0 out of 10, like honestly, what would you give this show?
a 3.
A three. All right, you cut a little bit there, but we got it. You gave you gave it a three.
Yeah, I gave it. Yeah, I had to think about it for a minute, honestly, because I hadn't thought about what I would give it.
Yeah, so there's also a little bit more that you definitely maybe I'm being too critical about it, like giving it like maybe like a like
No, 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 man. That's your opinion.
yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's the main thing that people should like understand. Like people look up reviews and stuff like this about shows and movies and whatever. If you're that interested in a movie, just watch it first.
Yeah.
Just watch it first, guys. We live in a time when you don't have to walk too far to get like if you want to watch a movie, you got pretty much got access to it. You know what I mean? Or you got like you know somebody you might still be logged into their Netflix account. You could steal it. You know what I mean? You got a way.
Oh yeah.
So um, don't let other people shape your opinions. Make your own.
Oh yeah. No, totally, totally. It's like it definitely that's basically how it is. Like I said, like when we talk about this waitress, like I said I know I've seen it. I saw it yesterday in the live chat over in the row that people are actually enjoying this. And I would see in the chat people like, how can you enjoy this show? It's complete shit. It's like, all right, you're entitled to your own opinion. Don't judge somebody for liking it. You can basically ask them like, okay, I'm interested. Why'd you like it? But don't be like on them about it, like why they liked it and everything. Just like how some people liked Welcome to Raccoon City. It's like it's their opinion. Like they saw it, it scratched that itch for them for Resident Evil, and they were satisfied with it and everything. But
That's what it's all about, man. You
like
know.
I can be a little like I don't know how someone would like this show, but again,
Yeah.
like I said, this just basically
Well,
takes Resident Evil and just like you said, they threw it through an AI and they spit this thing out, and they're like, "All right, that sounds good, like Resident Evil for teenagers." And okay, that's cool.
yeah. Um, I think we're past the mark here where
Oh
we
yeah,
can
no, we're
definitely start talking about the spoilers and stuff. So maybe we can elaborate on that a little bit, right? Actually, that's a very good point. Plot wise, like, how do you think? Well, first off, let's start. Do you think there was any way to save this?
this show.
Yes.
Oh god. You would have to backpedal a lot. Um, you can't have the whole world infected. You have to get rid of this. Like you have to completely rewrite the future part of the show and everything because Resident Evil never really was about global, you know, pandemic extinction. It always in like the media, like in like the short like CG movies. I shouldn't say short, but the CG movies and everything. It's always little area outbreaks like we hear on the news today, like oh Ebola broke out in this country, right now with monkeypox and things. It's like these small little outbreaks that we hear about,
Mm-hmm.
and like yeah, they hinted at that with it. And what country was it in the show where they had like the small outbreak and they kept talking about it in 2022?
Tijuana. I want to say
Tijuana, yeah,
Tijuana.
it was
Yeah.
Tijuana. Yep. So like okay, that's good and all. So there was a small outbreak in Tijuana. So I feel like they should have taken the Raccoon City, the new Raccoon City, and this is just me. Why didn't you just build it where the old Raccoon City was? Why did you have to put it in Europe somewhere? Because it's in Europe because of where they're driving. They're driving on the right side of the road throughout the entire show and everything.
Yeah.
So you could have done a show because at the end of Outbreak, File 1, they show that there's a community like still living in the craters of Raccoon City. So that's in 1998. Um, so they could have easily, by the year 2022, you could even push it a little forward if you wanted, put to 2030, a new city could have been built over the ashes of Raccoon City and everything.
So so I think there, because what the show goes with is off of 3, which is that the site is radioactive. I think from the bomb.
Well,
So I
yeah,
don't think that. So I don't know, but I actually
but after a
I
certain amount
think
of
it would.
years,
Yeah, I think it would be
radioactivity.
a long time. But I think years ago somebody had asked one of the creators of, I don't know if it was Resident Evil 3. I can't remember where I saw this. So if I'm speaking out of pocket, somebody let me know in the comment section, because I can't remember where I saw it. But long story short, it was a thermo. It was like some sort of a thermobaric. I don't know what it was. Like some sort of a thermobaric bomb or something like that, where like it wasn't, the bomb wasn't actually nuclear. It was just like a big enough and intense enough explosion to where it just like destroyed everything
Yeah,
and like firebombed it basically. So like it might still be inhabitable, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think it was ever really a nuclear explosion. Like people use the term they nuked Raccoon City, but they in the game they use the word sterilized.
Yeah,
So like I don't think it actually was a nuke. So like I feel like you could have built a new Raccoon City by the future at this time and everything,
it would be super easy
and
for them
it could have
considering
been
that.
contained in the city and
Yeah,
everything, and you could have made just like a story of, I don't know, Jade is just, she's tired of it. She's going into Raccoon City because that's where Umbrella's hiding, and she wants to put an end to this. And you could literally have had the whole story like kind of set in Raccoon City where there's still people kind of surviving like on the outskirts and everything. They're trying to hide from Umbrella and everything because the whole city couldn't be like, gated off. Like I know you're entering apocalypse territory at that point and everything, but at the same time it could have worked a little bit and everything, and you could have kind of had the same story. Like, you could have had her out in the Arklay Mountains, running in the woods away from Umbrella agents, and like you could have like strapped yourself to a whole bunch of lore in this show with the old games, but instead they decided to go their own way with it. Put in the year like 30, like whatever, 2030, whatever, um, and make it like a worldwide thing.
right.
And of course, in this show, they talk about, they had to bring up COVID and everything, and this show basically also it covers everything, so nobody can be mad at it if you
To
notice.
cover it,
So like
yes.
this might be entering a little. So I'm sorry if I offend anybody here, but I'm just saying like how this show covers all the grounds. It covers black people. It covers Asian people. It covers the LGBTQ. Like, and it also covers women because most of the people in this show are women. You have the lesbian couple. You have, they took a white character, they made him black, and the two main characters is a black girl and an Asian woman. So they definitely made sure they covered all their grounds from the start, so they can't say that like this show is homophobic, this show is racist, which is
Right.
fine. I don't care. They really don't
But
stick it in your face during this show. They're not really like rubbing it in your faces. But going through the show now a few times, just kind of getting like recordings and clips of it, I'm starting to notice the little things, like how they just made sure they covered their asses for this. And I think they worried too much about that and they forgot about plot.
they wanted it, yes. I think, you know what? I think it's, they get sucked in this vacuum, which is, how do we make the show accessible for all different people, right?
Exactly. Make it
Everybody wants to have a character to identify with, or like whatever. I'm cool with that. and again, it comes down to the writing. I don't really care about that. I don't really care about, um, if your plot it has substance to it. I'm not going to care that you made the characters look a little bit different or like whatever. I mean, would I personally prefer a cast that was a 1-to-1 replica? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. I think that's okay. So, but my main thing is like you kind of talk about like where they have the city and stuff like that. Literally, the first two episodes, like the flashback points, the city looks like instead of Umbrella coming into it and taking over, IKEA came in and took it over.
Oh yeah, it's just all plain like a white canvas,
It's
and
Yes, which is like the classic Umbrella look is like this kind of like white minimalist like decor, like not much vibrant like anything like you know very plain homes and things like that. So
yeah.
um and it just like the half of the show it's like this dichotomy is like half the show is like Mad Max with the soundtrack of Magic Mike, and the other half of the show is like a show that is about to get canceled on the CW.
No, yeah, totally.
And then they somehow merge into one giant like mess at the end, and we'll get to that. But yeah,
But yeah, no, I feel it. And like when it comes to like stuff like that, like you're saying, like the Raccoon City looks cheap, and then the other cheap stuff that like it just bothered me. Blade Wesker in the beginning of episode 6. Like I know they were going
yeah,
for
huh?
the big reveal. First of all,
Right.
I mean, they totally stole your idea about Chris Redfield. First of all, let me just stick with that.
Of course they
Um,
did.
but when Wesker comes down those stairs and they do like it's the real Wesker reveal, I just kind of laughed at myself and I said they probably went to Spirit Halloween. They went to the Spirit Halloween cheaper costume section, and like where it says like
Matrix. They bought a Matrix
yeah,
outfit.
or they just bought Vampire Hunter guy, but it's Blade, but it's Vampire Hunter guy. Like, oh look, it comes with the black cape, kind of the sunglasses. Oh, perfect, perfect. Yeah, you look like Wesker. Now, again, that's it just that's how it comes off. That's how it just came off. Just he looked like Blade because he dressed almost identical to how Wesley Snipes looked in the
I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
franchise.
I thought that was probably one of the coolest parts of the show.
What, seeing Wesker? I mean, I liked the
I'll
scene.
tell.
I
Yeah,
liked the scene. It was just
I
it was a little funny just seeing it, and like I just immediately was like, oh, Blade.
yeah, some crafty Wesker shit in that episode, which I kind of thought it was the most interesting out of what they did up until that point, right? So like you're wondering the whole time, like coming up to the show and then like during it, everybody's wondering, oh, how's Wesker alive? Like how could this be? Like what is the explanation? And then everybody started putting it together, like oh, he's probably um, you know has the character just been radically changed? Um, and this excuse or reasoning actually made the most sense. It sounded like some real Wesker shit, right? Make some clones and make them work for him. You know, I think it's really interesting that the clones also had his abilities. Um, I mean, it makes sense, right?
No, totally, yeah.
But yeah, but now you kind of have some Weskers that are a lot kinder. You don't have like our Wesker, who is an absolute menace.
No, it's because it's not the mind that he cloned; it was like the body or the DNA
Exactly.
and everything.
Exactly.
So like, just because it's the same DNA doesn't it means the personality might change.
The environment's
The
different, right? So the nature
the
nurture kind of thing.
Yeah, the only issue I had with that is that I know this show, they want to say this show is canon. It's not. because they retconned themselves as soon as they did that scene at the beginning of episode 6 by saying in 2005 is when he had already cloned himself.
Yeah.
Wesker didn't find out that he was a manufactured Umbrella project until I believe 2007, 2008. I'm not sure exactly. If you like, if you know the full timeline, let me know in the comments or everything. But like in Resident Evil 5, they do that flashback, the Forgotten Nightmares, where you play Jill and Chris, and they go in, and that's where he's talking to Oswald E. Spencer, and he's revealing to him that he's a clone. Well, he's not a clone,
Right.
but he was manufactured by
So
Umbrella to be the
yeah,
ultimate human. So that happened definitely after 2005, because Resident Evil 4 takes place in 2005, and Resident Evil 5 takes place, I believe, in 2009. So Wesker didn't find out that he was a manufactured Umbrella experiment until after that. So for people asking, is this canon? Either they want Capcom let Netflix retcon themselves, but no, it's not canon now, in my opinion, because they changed the timeline, and that's pretty much it. And Wesker never worked for Umbrella. Once he left Umbrella in Resident Evil 1, that was like his resignation. Like he was done. He's working. They still really haven't said in the game like who he's working for.
he's just a
Like
free agent.
he definitely has a company that's a higher power that they still have yet to reveal in the games and everything.
I think it's the connections. I think it's
Oh
the
yeah.
connections that they were referring to in like 7 and 8, right? Because
Oh yeah.
they're
No.
gonna have to have some explanation. I mean, if you look at the concept art for Village, right? You see that Ada was in the concept art.
Yeah.
My thought has always been that it was possible that Ada had been tied in with the connections, and that was her purpose for being there. And like, if that had been the case,
Oh yeah. No. Definitely. There definitely is. And like I said, so like this show definitely does its own thing. Like they always make Umbrella seem like this ultimate evil corporation where it was really just two people that were like the absolute evil of Umbrella. It was William Birkin and Albert Wesker. They just wanted to control this company for money.
come on, a few people ruining something for a population. Don't act like that happens. That doesn't happen.
I know
It's all
exactly.
about.
So like they always make Umbrella to be like this ultimately bad. Most of the scientists were held there against their own will in the games. If you read the files, like the Keeper, like this guy is a guy who worked in the lab. He was part of a test. Same thing with Lisa Trevor and her family, the Trevors. They worked for Umbrella. They were called to the mansion to be part of this test and everything. And this was like the three scientists that basically, Marcus and Wesker and Birkin basically running tests on people to see what this virus can do. So I don't know why the shows and movies they always want like just Umbrella to always be like this evil corporation. Yeah, I understand they're a bad company for what they did, and their boards probably let slide. But at the same time, a lot of these scientists were just people just working there, and they just got caught in the crossfire.
Even in the Mila Djokovic movies, dude,
Yeah,
they freaking still, dude, they. That's the opening scene is a guy like walking and he gets bumped into, knocks his coffee on himself,
it's
gets
it's
third degree burns, and goes in the elevator.
it's
That's
why
how it
in
starts.
yeah it's why in Resident Evil 2 why Umbrella came to collect the G virus sample from William Birkin. They were like, yeah, he's a little crazy. Go get that virus from him. We can't allow that to get out. And
Right.
he goes, he just can't let the G virus go. So like, I don't know, like you can't always play Umbrella off as the big baddie because I feel like that's what they always do. And I know they touched upon this in the show with the dollar store Jack Black. Like how he said like he's just a hired person. He just wants to go home to his dogs at the night and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, they kind of played it off like he has to come off as intimidating because he's working for Umbrella. But like, I don't know. They always just take it too far in these live action things with making Umbrella be like a communist freaking like China ruling company. That
Yeah,
just
they well, you know what it is? They get the scale of the show wrong.
yeah.
They don't understand the scaling of the show and what made the original games and plots so good, right? Which is you have this very isolated feel. And in that they drop you don't like meet any Umbrella employees except for Annette
Yeah,
and John.
because
If you're Ada,
they're pretty much already just all been killed by Umbrella. They
well,
just killed them
yeah,
all.
Umbrella is a minor part, not a minor part, but like in terms of gameplay, the only time you ever see Umbrella is just in the environment. It's not, you don't see Umbrella workers or employees, or
No,
you see UBCS and Annette Birkin. That's it,
yeah,
right? So my thing is that's not like Umbrella being this big bad corporation is somewhat true, right? Obviously,
yeah, no, of course.
but the way that they portray them is wrong. Umbrella's like the guy behind the curtain. That's
Yeah,
what they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be the guy behind the curtain.
like I said,
You're not supposed to be interacting with them and like doing all this stuff. It's a guy behind the curtain. So
Umbrella would fall into the same category like when that BP oil spill happened.
yeah,
How everyone was just like, "Oh, BP, you're horrible." Like, no, it wasn't BP. It was probably some faulty guy working at that oil rig out on the ocean that fucked up. But then BP got all the things at them because they chose the wrong person to go speak for them and everything. It's always the people, and you just can't always just like they're not an evil company. They didn't want that. BP never intended, just like how Umbrella never intended for the virus to get out. They tried doing whatever they could to make sure that virus didn't get out. But at the same time, like, okay, yeah, so Umbrella created this. It was one of their scientists created it, so they get blamed and everything. But, you know,
and so one thing actually that you're talking about, that the one thing that the show does that's interesting is we kind of revisit this concept of pheromones, which is something that is actually played with in um, Operation Raccoon City,
yes.
right? So we know that there's character. I'm trying to think of who it was, but one of the characters has pheromones that you can basically throw and it attracts infected. You know what I mean? You could do different things with it. I thought that was an interesting angle
No,
for the show to take.
I thought so too. Like, it was definitely like an interesting way of like a deterrent almost and everything.
Yeah, and that once that happens, right? I mean, it's going bad before that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But once that part happens, it's over.
Oh, yeah, pretty
In
much.
my opinion, it's lights out for the show. This
No.
show then takes like a complete nosedive.
Like, I feel like going back to that part with the pheromones and everything, like, they were like, how are we going to make something happen here on this ship? And, like, oh, let's just do the kid messes, the kid fucks up. And, like,
Right.
every zombie thing does this where the kid makes a fucking mistake and causes somebody to die. It's so overdone. Like, just listen to your fucking parents. She told what's her name? B? Yeah, B, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she tells her to stay back. You know, the zombie can probably, like, yet she still walks up and says, "It worked," like, loudly. Like,
Yeah.
do you not forget that she did not spray you with the pheromones, so as soon as you talk, that zombie is going to realize that somebody's there. Like, so, like, I felt like that was just like a cop out, like, oh, what can we do? Like, oh, let's just do the old kid plot thing where the kid says something and attracts the zombie and everything.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, like, the best part for me of the show was the Lisa Trevor tape. And I felt like the show.
That was all right.
I like that. I like the Moonlight Sonata part where they play the piano and like he's like leaving like the files throughout the house and like I was like this is in the right direction for Resident Evil being done right with them reading that file and them going to the piano and then
Yeah.
remembering this how Wesker used to play Moonlight Sonata for them when they were kids
Right.
and everything. And then after they finish playing it, the key stops, and then they take the key off. That's like something you'd see in the game. Like you would play the Moonlight Sonata song, and then in the bottom it would say one of the keys came loose. Do you remove the key? Well, remove the piano key. You say yes, and then you have the piano key in your inventory, and then you check it and you turn it, and then there'd be a key or something like embedded inside the piano key. Like they were definitely doing something right in that whole part where they find the dog whistle, they blow the dog whistle, the dog comes, they use the dog's chip to open up the door and everything. Like everything about that was Resident Evil being done kind of right in that episode. That's why episode 5 in my opinion is like my favorite episode out of them, because they definitely did something a little right there where like this is how you can do Resident Evil 1, like the story of the mansion in, you know, a movie. And like that's just like I was like, okay, so that's really good. Like I said, the pheromone pot I liked and everything, but like again, they do a boat. And then at the end of it's episode 6, I think. Episode 6, they literally recreate the ending to Afterlife with the helicopters coming at the boat and everything. I'm like, they're just doing the same scene from Afterlife. Like, we're back on a boat again because Resident Evil, for some reason, just more than recently is obsessed with boats. I don't know why.
Yeah, and they basically copied like I Am Legend for like half the movie.
Yeah. But, like, we've had a boat in Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 6 had a boat. Resident Evil 7 had a boat. Revelations 1 had a boat.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like,
well, here's the thing. There's two things that are
game...
certain in Capcom, right? There's two things that are certain in Capcom. There's all men know how to fly helicopters or planes. So if you're Dante, you know how to fly a plane. If you're Chris Redfield, you know how to fly a plane. You know how to fly a jet. If you're Leon, you know how to fly.
Well, Leon only knows how to fly a helicopter. He doesn't know how to fly a plane because in Resident Evil 6, he said, like, when he goes to fly a plane, this is something they should have taught me at the academy. So he just...
Oh, yeah.
He tries to fly the plane. He crashes, but still, he's able to, like, just take control of this huge plane.
You know who else knows how to fly a plane? Steve.
Oh, yeah.
Steve knows how to fly a plane. Wesker knows how to fly a plane.
At least no one really flew a thing in this. Like, only, like, Umbrella agents were flying the helicopters, at least.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about the movies. LJ knows how to fly a helicopter.
Oh, yeah. The guy from Sons of Anarchy knows how to fly a little biplane somehow. Like, just some random movie producer.
Yeah.
I forget what his name was in Afterlife.
Oh, yeah, I remember the guy, yep.
He gets in the plane and flies away, like, and how he...
Yeah, I don't know where Capcom thinks he's getting all these aviation licenses from. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
I don't know either.
You were talking about the boat, though.
Oh, yeah, just how there's always boats, no matter what now, and I feel like the boat thing is overdone now, and I'm tired of seeing a boat. And like I said, it was the same thing, like in the Resident Evil movie series, like the movies, they're looking for Arcadia, and well, they mention an extinction, then in Afterlife you find out it's a boat, it's been hidden out on the water. That's why Umbrella, no one can find Arcadia. It was the same plot thing. Like, why can't no one find the university? Oh, just because maybe we should check the ocean, maybe? Like, why is there like one big boat just out there on the ocean?
Whenever they try to go with the global scale idea, they always end up having to go onto a boat. Because, well, I mean, a boat or underground. Yeah. Or in the air. And they're going to be like Bioshock.
Oh, yeah. Just a big flying thing up in the sky. Yeah. Like I don't understand why they always have to go to a boat. Like, you know, it's just like, you didn't have to do a boat. They could have easily done that. The university was like in a hidden Umbrella lab underground. That's all they could have had to do and everything. And then you could have had the end of the show take place in a lab. Like, I mean, yes, it did technically in the past and everything.
Well, you got to remember one thing about this boat. This is not a normal boat.
No, it was.
This is a dinosaur. This is a dinosaur-powered boat. Which, mind you, I don't know where they got the collar for that. Alligator. Yeah, I don't know. They called every Petco and sex shop within a 5,000-mile radius. And they looked everywhere for a collar that was big enough for this alligator. Or crocodile, or whatever the hell he is.
Whatever it was from Resident Evil 2. And, like, that disappointed me because they had an opportunity to kind of recreate a scene and also at the same time be like Jaws at the same time.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I thought that's where they were going. Like they would have had him, the alligator, when we went back in the water. I thought, oh, it's gonna go back to the boat, and a tank's gonna fall in, and she's gonna shoot the tank, and the head's gonna explode, and it's gonna be like the same thing. You're just gonna see the alligator like slowly fall back in the water with his whole top of the half of the head missing. But no, they did that kind of wrong. Yeah, they still kind of blew it up with rocket launchers. Well, I'm not sure, more like missiles from the whatever
No,
type of
yeah.
like square helicopter thing that Billy was flying in. And like so the alligator did look good. Like I was rewatching it again earlier today just to get like clips of it. And the alligator, it actually looks pretty good. Like the CG on that looks pretty good. And I know you want to say that the girl definitely probably sprayed the pheromone on her, but did she? Did B really spray the like what caused the alligator just to not attack her? Like I'm guessing that she had the pheromone in her in that backpack and
Yeah.
she sprayed it with her, but that backpack was packed a long time ago. She packed that bag. Jade packed that bag because she remembered that was what her that Wesker did for Billy and her, saying, "I packed a bag for you, so when things get bad and you need to go, there's a bag filled with supplies." So she never really had time to put the pheromone in there. So that's why I just don't understand why the alligator was, they never showed her take the pheromone or anything. Like, why would B put everybody in jeopardy just take that pheromone when she like fled the boat and everything? But that was just like
Yeah. It's a good point.
it really made no sense to me. And like they haven't like she was just lucky that it worked on the animals too. Like just so lucky that the T virus acts the exact same way in animals, even though it makes them grow, it makes them more aggressive, you know. So she's just lucky the pheromone thing worked for the alligator. Like I feel like just just so lucky. Um like as other monsters looked, like I was very disappointed in other bioweapons in this show, like the gigantic caterpillar that lives for like what, 5 minutes maybe less.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. The caterpillar was pretty cool.
it
I
was
don't know,
really
man.
cool
Like,
looking. It was a little bit of a letdown. I felt like that was going to be like somewhere in the middle of the show and not like the opening minutes of
yeah.
the show. I still don't get what she was doing at the like what was she doing at the beginning of the show? Like she just brings the rabbit
I
out
think,
there. She releases the rabbit, makes it bleed so the zombies find her.
yeah, she's studying them. She's trying to figure out like if there's a way to control them.
Yeah, I mean like 6 months doing that, really?
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that they could have easily done on the boat. They could have just sectioned off an area if they were just dragging zombies too underwater with them. Like, couldn't why did she have to leave the boat and go into the city to try that? Couldn't she just they have docked somewhere on an island and drag zombies up and did it there? I don't really understand that.
I don't know, man. They got a huge freaking alligator. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I trust their methodology.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I like the whole idea is just
Oh
ridiculous.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't support SeaWorld, and I don't support people who keep giant alligators
Tied to a boat
trapped, tied to the boat,
and
or any of
everything.
that.
Just kind of drag them
You know?
around the water and
Yeah, it's kind of like in Godzilla where he wades off into the water a little bit.
oh yeah. And another huge thing I didn't understand about this show is in Resident Evil, in files from everything, they were called zombies. So why in the future is Umbrella and all these people calling the zombies zeros? Like in all Resident Evil media, whenever they
Like,
describe these creatures, they describe them as the living dead zombies. Like
yeah, I agree with
that's
that.
something that Resident Evil was always going by. It's not like The Walking Dead. I have a feeling they're trying to do like a Walking Dead thing where every like group has a different name for them. But everyone just seemingly agreed to call them zeros. Like every group she came in contact with, like they were all
I
called zeros.
I think they meant like they have zero brain function. Like
Yeah,
they're just.
that's what I'm guessing. But just call them zombies.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like like this,
I agree
there's
with
no
that.
reason to have them constantly like, oh, the zeros, the zeros. I'm like, no, just zombies. Like why are you coming up? Like Resident Evil's always gone by zombies. There's no need to go by, like even in, I think in Resident Evil 4, like Leon says, they're like zombies, but they're not. Like so, like
It's just the
I
the
mean,
plot is just so crazy.
oh yeah,
The plot is just so. It was like putting your foot all the way down on the gas pedal of your car, but without a steering wheel.
yeah.
Like it just goes wherever the hell it's gonna go.
And this is like a
Uh,
minor critique of this show, but Jade's red jumpsuit, like it goes from on to half off. Then they have to do a scene of her like struggling to put this. Like, why would she use her energy and strength to slip back on this red jumpsuit? Like when she's walking out of the tunnels after being attacked by the lickers and the spiders and the horde. Like she slowly walks out and she's just like slowly, painfully putting her red jumpsuit on
yeah,
just to get taken by the Brotherhood in the next scene, and then in the next scene it's back off to half on again. Like it literally it makes no sense, and like it keeps going like on and off, on and off, on and off throughout the entire show. And I was just like, what is the point of this red jumpsuit? Like, why do we have to see her put it like why would like, oh, when you walk out like you're limping and you're painful, but at the same time we want you to put on this red jumpsuit. And like it was like a like why what's the point of this?
the red jumpsuit is a symbol of her independence.
Oh, I definitely. What else? Oh, big thing I was really mad about in the season finale. The Tyrant. They hint at it in the
How
trailer.
about just showing the tyrant and then not doing anything with it? How
They
about that, huh?
they just did nothing. Like they show you the Tyrant like they did in the trailer, then they see it banging on the glass, and then that's it. I'm like
Dude, it was literally like one of the only things that I wanted to see
I
out of the show.
I was
And
waiting
then
for
they
them.
baited everybody with it. They showed it to everybody. Like, how are
Yeah.
you gonna?
I'm
If
like
that's a teaser for season two, how do you show that in promos for season one? That's ridiculous. That should have just been
exactly.
something at the end of it. Because if you show it to me in the trailer, now I'm expecting it to be a bigger part of the season.
And
And I'm not gonna lie, it looked pretty cool. So I was pretty interested
when they're
in seeing that.
when they're running away in the halls and all the alarms are going off in the umbrella lab at the end, like I
Yep.
was like thinking to myself, oh, they're gonna do a Mr. X scene. This tyrant is gonna come crashing through the wall in front of them,
Yeah.
and I was like, either Albert or what was his brother's name? It's very close to Albert, but it's not.
Uh, hold
Uh,
on.
yeah, look it
Can't
up.
remember.
But I thought Wesker was gonna get like he was gonna be like run, and then the tyrant was gonna pierce him like in the game and pick him up and kill him right then and there and everything. Bert, that's the name.
Bert.
Bert,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Bert could have sacrificed himself to blow up the lab at the end and everything. But like, like, and then so they show you the lab all burnt down in rubble, and the firefighters are coming to put it out and everything, and then the claw comes out of the ground. Now, it could be two things. Yes, that's probably the tyrant, or that could be Wesker, mutated, because in the explosion. But it's probably the tyrant because it had the claw and everything.
Yeah, but you know what's weird? When they show him again, he didn't have the claw.
Yeah, so like it probably retracts. So like
It
in the
retracts or something. Yeah.
in it could be like Lady D's like claws, how they like retract and everything.
I thought that would have been cool though if that was Wesker. That's what I was wondering. I was like, I
Yeah,
wonder if
if that's
I would
Wesker,
have
if he mutated after he died.
yeah I would have loved to have seen Wesker fight the
Oh,
tyrant
I
though.
would
I
have
thought that would have been sick.
I would have loved like a final scene, like where he says like stand back, and, like the tyrant's like walking at them, like I said,
Yeah,
and
OG Wesker
then
just
all of a sudden like his Resident Evil 5 powers come out, and he's able like you see his eyes like glow red as he's looking at them
yeah
and everything, and then he does like the super punch at the tyrant and everything, and like in the end, the tyrant would have ended up killing him, because that's just where you have to go for the story and everything.
Hmm.
But then they could have done the same thing with at the end. You could have saw like Rebel move and everything. You're thinking it's either the Tyrant or that's Wesker.
Yeah.
And then of course, big spoiler for the season finale. Any other character besides Ada? Anybody would have been better. Like I was like,
Yeah, that didn't
why,
make any
why Ada
sense.
Wong? It would have made so much more sense if he said to his daughters, "When you get out of here, find this person." And then when they opened the letter, it said Chris Redfield, not fucking Ada. Like making it say "Find Chris Redfield" would have been such a better,
Dude.
more plot device because if you're going game story, if all of a sudden two girls came up to Chris Redfield and said, "Our dad sent you," his name's Albert Wesker,
Yeah,
and
dude,
he
Chris Redfield's gonna be like freaking
what
Professor Xavier opening a school for the gifted. It's gonna have
and like
freaking Rose
it would have
Winter
been
in there. Yeah.
it would have been so much better. Like I feel like if it made a Chris, like I understand they had to give that one other video game drop and everything in this show,
Right.
but I was like, why Ada? Any other character would have been perfect. Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Leon S. Kennedy, anybody. You know what I mean? Like, but even
Whenever they want people to go, ooh, they put Ada.
I don't know why. Like I feel like Leon would have been more of an fans going, "Oh, Leon, nice." You know what I mean? But even like Chris, like, okay, Village Chris, nice, nice. You know what I mean? But Ada, like newer fans that have started the game series from 7, so people that have started playing like 7, if they haven't played the remakes yet, they don't even know who Ada Wong is. They know basically right now if they played 7 in Village, all they know is who Chris Redfield is, and they might soon know who Leon is if they're gonna play the 4 remake and everything.
Right.
But I feel like most people that played 7, they went back, played 2 remake, they played 3 remake, and then they'll probably move on to 4 remake and everything as you get more and more people into the series. And people are gonna be like, "Isn't Ada dead?" If they haven't like played all the games and everything.
Right.
So, I mean, like, I don't know why they decided with Ada. It makes me less interested if there's gonna be a season 2 and everything.
What would season 2 be of this season, do you think?
It'd probably be more of a story up until Billy and Jade go their own separate ways, because there's at least a 4-year gap before, because I'm pretty sure Jade is 14 in the show, and then Billy says to her in the future, "The last time I saw you, you were 18, pregnant, and you were missing your front top teeth." Now, that makes me believe in the apocalypse, where did she find a dentist to give her implants? And in an apocalypse, would it even be necessary to get teeth implants?
I don't know.
Because like that's how they explain the gap in her teeth, because she didn't have them as a kid. I mean, they make from movies, they make teeth things that actors can wear. What's his name? Wore it in Spider-Man. I'm having a huge mind block on actors today. William Dafoe, when he played um, Norman Osborn, he would have like the fake teeth in, and then
Right.
when he became the Green Goblin, he would take off the cast so he would have his real kind of fucked up teeth. Why didn't they just do that? Like, why do they have to throw that little plot thing in? Like, oh, last time I saw you, you were missing. So like, okay, so now this Jade in the future has like teeth implants and something. So there's definitely like another story there. There's definitely like a 4-year timeline where they can tell like another story, and then
Mm.
they can continue with the present day,
Right.
because she just kind of gets up after being shot in the stomach and somehow able to walk it off, and at a very close range shot. Um, so we'll see. Like, they're definitely more like Billy has B to go do experiments on her to find out why the alligator didn't attack her,
Right.
and she's clearly injured. And then we have it'd be like a search for Ada Wong, though. I feel like the younger story would be them searching for Ada and everything, going to Japan to go find Ada, because that's apparently where she's just hiding out in the year 2022. Is just in Japan somewhere. and everything. So,
Futuristic Ada Wong.
oh yeah, I don't know how they
So,
can.
Robo Ada.
I don't know how they can fix it. Like, so like this show was just filled with disappointments. Like I said, the liquor scene was such a letdown. Like they pressed so hard like on the liquors and the spiders and the dogs in the trailer, and they're not really in it that much.
No, they're literally the amount of time that each of them gets are what you see in the trailer.
Exactly. Like there's no new scenes for these creatures, but in the trailer, like okay, there's that one scene where the guy gets ripped in half by the spider because it sticks its
Yeah.
leg in and just like kind of pulls up and rips the guy in half.
Yeah, dude, like what are we gonna and so like all right, they want this to be canon, like the writers of the show clearly want this to be canon, which
Yeah.
means that they have like a set path for these characters for like until 2036, right? So whatever they build here is going to be, you know, the future for a while of the franchise.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? Like, how old is Chris Redfield going to be by the end of this, man? I want to feel this dude's like
Well,
uh,
he's
his
retiring
his
soon.
bad. I want to feel his bad knees and the adaptive triggers of the PlayStation 5.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
he's definitely retiring soon. Like, cause
Oh yeah,
they
he's
just
he's
keep
definitely
moving
retiring.
further and further into the future, and like, I mean, technically, in Resident Evil Village's DLC, if basically we don't see the world going to shit already, it's not canon because in the not Zoe, but the Rose DLC,
Yep,
it takes place what 14 years in the future.
16.
16 years in the future. So the exact amount of time it takes for this show to where the show basically is. So if the show wasn't going to shit at the end of Village when they're in the cemetery, that means the show's not canon at all. So that's just a little thing too.
Yeah,
So they want to say
that's
it's canon, but it is not canon at all. It's its own separate universe. At some point in the Resident Evil multiverse, there was another path that got taken. Probably Wesker finding out that he was genetically modified prior and started making clones of himself prior to Resident Evil 5. And so having,
dude.
but yeah, Wesker's death is like, if you want to go Marvel standards in the multiverse, it's an absolute point in time where no matter what, Wesker dies in a volcano. Because
Dude,
they say that in the show that he did die in a volcano.
right.
But yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I could like the drones in that final episode somehow have
Yeah, she
something.
unlocked some crazy kill streaks and some shit. Like at the end of that show, she
How
was just blasting the shit out of like thousands of people. It was crazy. It
how
was like
can
Black Ops 2.
how can the drones hold that much ammo?
No idea.
Like they're just
No idea.
constantly firing. I'm like, I would say, oh well, it's future drones. No, no, still,
Yeah.
how does the drones have that much ammo?
All right.
And then like just the like I said, a couple of the Easter egg stuff was nice. Like I said, there's the typewriter at one point when she's in the sewers or whatever, and she runs into that safe room and she's like trying to call her daughter on the phone and everything. You
Mm,
can see like a typewriter like on the table in the background and everything, or in the foreground because technically the typewriter was in front of her. So if you want to say foreground, the typewriter was in. You
right.
know, Billy's wearing that vegan shirt. Oh yeah, that's another thing they cover. They make sure they cover vegans in the show too, but they also trash vegans at the same time. Um, but she's wearing the shirt saying like plant type, and it's a green herb, yellow herb, and red herb, like on her shirt. Well, it's a green herb, red herb, and yellow herb, like down her shirt.
Yeah.
So okay, so they throw the herbs in there. They throw Moonlight Sonata in there. They throw Lisa Trevor in there. So they do a few good little Easter eggs in this show and everything. Dr. Salvador was just a joke again. It looked like someone trying to make a cosplay of him.
Yeah.
And like in Resident Evil 4, his eye holes are just enough to show his eyes.
Yeah, this one he had like
Just fucking
huge eye
like
holes.
huge cut open eye holes. It was just kind of like the guy that was making it just kept fucking up, and it was like, oh,
He's
come
like a
on.
modernized. He's a modernized Dr. Salvador. Like he's got like a wheat flour bag on his head. He's like environmentally conscious.
Very
He's
skinny.
lost a lot of weight. He does yoga.
Yeah,
He
he's
he goes to the batting cages and does his swings every day with the chainsaw.
he also speaks French too, by the way. Like
Yes,
he's a French speaking Doctor Salvador,
yeah. I mean, he does it all.
and I understand they want to humanize him in this show, so he dies with one shot to the head and everything.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
unfortunate.
yeah, just the one shot. I feel like it would have been cooler if like that guy, the umbrella guy, Jack Dollar Store Jack Black, um, shot him like right in the head, and it just did nothing, and he did like three more shots and still nothing. And
Yeah,
at that point, like they could have had him start going like crazy, like laughing and stuff, charging at them. And I thought that probably would have been like a lot better of a scene of like an
right.
actual like him like chasing them through the swords for the longest time and them just shooting at him instead of just like, oh, one shot, he's dead. Here, take his chainsaw as a weapon.
Should have been a whole episode getting chased by him.
Oh yeah, should have like a whole episode of the swords, like you just hear the chainsaw revving through the swords and everything, and you know, and then they find out that at the end that he was technically a zombie-esque bioweapon controlled by Mother Zero, which that's what it was labeled as in the subtitles.
Yep.
Was that big lady zombie that controlled them with the head, with the weird growth thing? She was called Mother Zero, and then they could have led to that finally, like that's what was controlling him. Like this Mother Zero zombie was basically controlling all these zombies and everything, but like again, like Tony has told us before that we give these writers too much credit sometimes
Yes.
to like where
I could.
fans can write better stuff. And like honestly, any Resident Evil fan can sit with this show and sit with this script that they had and use it as like a rough draft and be like, nope, 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 change this, get rid of this entirely, make this a little different and everything, and being like, maybe not make Wesker look so much like Blade, like change something about him, like at least give him blonde hair or something, and
Yeah, that would
you
have been
know,
cool.
but like I don't know, so many different little things as I slowly just intook this show. I said a lot of the episodes are like very forgettable. Like episode
Yes.
2 has the crazy cat lady feeding cats to the zombie and everything in the bathroom, right?
Right.
Okay, and like I feel like they're trying to go with like a hint that was Barry Burden, but I don't think it was. But like you can't take a character like that and just say, "Oh, I'm here to see Barry."
Yeah, Barry's not dead.
Because at first I'm thinking, "Oh, is she here to see Barry Burden?" Like, okay, that's an okay character just to throw into this show as like a side character and everything. Of like someone, no, it wasn't Barry Burden first of all, so like that was a waste of time. And no matter
Yeah.
what, she always seemed to get wronged by people that were like pretending to protect her. Like, how long did it would take Jay to find out like maybe I shouldn't trust anybody? So you have that first group of people that save her from the caterpillar. They call Umbrella. Then you have Crazy Cat Lady. She calls Umbrella. Then you have Billy who tells her to run. Like the fact that she even trusted like a third person that said that they won't let Umbrella know where she went. I mean, it's just overdoing it and stupid, and like I'm like, of course Umbrella's still coming for her when she found the tracker inside the zombie head and everything. What if
Right.
she what if she didn't take the zombie head? Like what if she just said fuck it and ran out of there and didn't take the head with her? Like then what would
They
Umbrella
would
do?
have the head,
I mean, like it
which is I
just
think what they wanted, right?
yeah, I mean that's the main thing that she wanted to do experiments on, but like I don't know how she knew where it was. I'm not sure if I like just stopped paying attention for a second, but it seems like she runs to like a bin and just opens it and finds it.
Right.
It's like how did she know it was there? Now I might be missing something. I might have to go back and I might be wrong,
Yeah,
but
I'm honestly not 100% sure either.
I might be wrong, but I just remember her running away after like, Billy says, "Punch me," and then she runs after she cuts out the tracker and everything. And she seems to run right for like this metal bin thing, and she opens it up and just takes the bag out, and then just starts running. It's like you think Umbrella would have like taken that head away, like far away, like immediately and everything, but
Yeah.
I don't know, it may have been just part of all the plan. They knew that they could use her to find the university and everything. So like, but like, I don't know. I just feel like I missed something there from like where they let her free to when she grabs the head. Like, how did she know the head was gonna be there and everything?
That is a good point.
Like, it was just like little things as I'm watching it, and I'm just like, wait, how? Like, you got to explain this stuff and everything, and like for one thing, like I do give it credit. Like the Witcher series did a horrible job at confusing people, like when it was jumping from the past to the future and everything, or past and present. This show really it wasn't confusing at all when it was like jumping around or anything. Like it tells you once like the year and everything, so like when the show just keeps jumping, like you kind of it's not really that confusing to like the storyline or anything, which was good. I felt
Right.
like normally it's hard to do that in entertainment where you're jumping back and forth from present to future trying to tell a story and everything.
It didn't work here at all, in my opinion, either. Yeah, it honestly like just makes it incredibly difficult. Like I think I get what they were trying to do, but in the end, it just completely works against like being able to even follow the plot well.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Like you're jumping into you're in the past, right? 1 second, and then the next second you're her in the future. But the sections in the future are like not. Those are like the parts where they want you to say, "Oh wow, yeah, this is Resident Evil."
No, but it
The
isn't. It
right,
isn't.
exactly, and it never hits that. It never achieves it.
The past felt more like Resident Evil more than anything. Like the
Yeah,
past story, like that's where I actually felt Resident Evil, and in the future, it was not Resident Evil at all. Like I'm like,
yeah,
what is this? Like
right,
again, zombies don't run in Resident Evil. They slowly walk or Crimson Heads. Unless all those zombies were Crimson Heads and everything, like I think it's like because
Crimson
again,
Head should
I understand
definitely
like
be
it's not that
canned.
great for a show or a movie having the slow zombies, but Dawn of the Dead did it greatly
Right,
and everything. Like the original Dawn of the Dead, like and even the remake's good, but I didn't like the running zombies in that movie.
yeah,
I like slow, mindless zombies like that just don't know how to run. And even so, I mean, like technically they weren't really dead. The zombies in this, it was more of like an infection. I'm not sure if they actually were dead. The people, I think they kind of hinted at that they weren't actually living dead for some reason. But a zombie can't run because muscle deterioration and the death of a body and everything goes, and that's why zombies just kind of slowly walk around because there's not much muscle there at all left.
right,
But that's getting too like scientific into like real life studies of like what a real zombie would be like and everything. How like basically in Max Brooks's book of like zombie survival guide, how pretty much
yeah.
like humans would just have to hold out for like a few months and
Before they deteriorated.
would be fine because with the air and the bugs, it wouldn't be too long before all the zombies just kind of flop to the ground, and then we just go around with a gun and just kind of, okay, guys, we're done. Zombie apocalypse over. Um,
Right.
but yeah, that's getting too much into like real life. I know this is Resident Evil, and gigantic alligators and creatures. Definitely isn't connected to real life science or anything.
Yeah, they were trying to enter the MonsterVerse at the
Oh
by
yeah.
the end of that show. They were like, guys, this. It's like the last two episodes they realized how bad it was, and they were like, quick, let's see if we can get our way into the MonsterVerse
Oh yeah. And another thing I didn't
and
understand is why
put a
did
kaiju in there.
the caterpillar, the spider, and the
It was like Mothra.
alligator all have screeches like dinosaurs? Like they all have that same like T Rex Jurassic
All they
Park
had a
screech, like that roar. Like I'm like,
yeah, they didn't have a giant spider or anything like that. All they had was a giant dinosaur. so
Yeah.
they went with that.
Yeah, they just kind of did, but like the caterpillar made like the same type of noise. The spider made the same noise at one point and everything. Like the
Right.
lickers make all the same noise they make in the game. The dog, makes the same noise in the game and everything. And and
Yeah, they need to really get better with that. Like even in the original Resident Evil, it still cracks me up when you actually like watch the movies like from the game, the live action sequences where they just have like dinosaur noises like over the dogs. Oh my
oh yeah,
god, it kills me. It kills me.
oh yeah, just like the
It's like
real. Oh yeah,
ah!
I know exactly what you mean. And like going more into like the game stuff and everything real quickly too. Also with the show is if you're gonna pick any scene from the game to recreate in this show, why would you pick a scene from Resident Evil 3 remake? Like the scene where Billy's in school and she runs into the bathroom and she like pukes into the sink and then she looks up because the blood starts dripping in the sink and she
Yeah.
sees herself like out of anything from the games to recreate a scene from the game. Why do you choose Resident Evil 3 remake unless they want people to play it and see that scene and realize it's identical?
I think maybe that might honestly that might have just been a mistake. I don't even think I don't think they're clever enough to do that.
But like it was like the same thing. Like it's the first person view. Goes to the sink, pukes, blood drips down. She looks up. Same
Yeah,
thing. She backs away and she's like looking at her face.
they probably thought they did something very original there. They were
Oh yeah,
like, "Oh
oh
fuck
yeah.
yeah,
I'm
dude,
like,
this
I'm
is
like,
gonna win them over.
why are you picking something from Resident Evil 3
This is it."
remake? Like this is just absolutely stupid. But I mean, again, it's on them. I'm like, I'm sure some people are gonna like that scene and everything, and like watching the Row yesterday stream like do that first episode. I think they feel how everybody felt after the first episode because
No,
the first
yeah,
episode is kind of a tease, and I'm willing to bet you when JJ is gonna be like, I'm done, and it's gonna be almost the exact same scene where I said I'm done. Is when Wesker's in the cell and the block falls out and Bert's in this like going, "Hey, bro." I think at that exact moment, that's when JJ is gonna be like, "Oh, I can't continue this, but I have to."
yeah.
Like,
He'll continue it. He'll finish it, but
yeah,
it's gonna
he'll.
be painful.
I just know like I know the feeling. I already seen kind of what how Beggy is talking about it, how Susie the Sphere Hunter was talking about it on Twitter. Like I read what they've said. Like Tony said, like he doesn't know if he has the energy or the motivation to finish episode 8 after watching 7.
It does hurt.
Like the Sphere Hunter said, there was some parts of this I liked, but there was also some parts she like said I really did not like. Becky kind of
Yes.
said the same thing on Twitter. Like there's parts of it that I'm happy about, and there's parts I'm really like I can't get on board with this. And
I mean,
like I watched it for the subtitles on because people say to watch with subtitles on when you definitely want to do stuff like this so you can learn more kind of about it. And that's what like a lot of people do for like the Marvel stuff. Like they'll watch it with the subtitles on and stuff to kind of get more of an idea of what the screenwriters were going for.
right.
But for some reason, Netflix likes to get really descriptive with their subtitles. I saw like a lot of like jokes and memes about it with in Stranger Things where it says like moist, like something like when the tentacles and Vecna's like tentacles were going, it was like moist, slimy tentacle noises or something. So like I wasn't surprised with this like they definitely the writers liked scoffing a lot because the fact that how many times the character scoffs in this show, where it just says scoffs, like in the subtitles.
Oh yeah.
And like it says like clapping or clicking or clapping teeth and stuff like that, and like
Yeah, I know what you're
is,
talking about.
how is a deaf person gonna know what like what a scoff sounds like and what a like a clapping your teeth noise sounds like, or like there's like with like licking teeth and everything. And then of course my favorite one, blows raspberries, was like the ultimate funniest thing ever because like they could have done like deep exhale, but no, blow raspberries because they want a deaf person to know exactly what Wesker was doing at that table at that moment and everything. Which at the same time, I think the subtitles kind of threw me out of the show
Blows
too.
raspberries. Blows
And
raspberries.
just Wesker blows raspberries. I was like, okay, so now that's classified as a sound. It's just, I guess from now on, that's a sound. Blows raspberries. But
That's so funny.
I said, I think part of that like threw me off. But like, I'm just, I just, everything from this show was just, I don't know.
Identity crisis. It's
It
having
really,
an identity crisis.
it really
It's a
was.
true case of identity theft. This is identity theft of a loved one for me, and I
Oh
don't
yeah,
like it
no, Resident Evil
at
like
all.
definitely have their identity stolen, and it almost feels like someone wrote a show. It's kind of like how what J.J. Abrams does for the Cloverfield movies. How
Yeah.
like someone wrote 10 Cloverfield Lane. It wasn't anything to do with Cloverfield at all, but J.J. Abrams saw this movie and was like, "Oh, I want to buy the rights to this movie. And I'm gonna make it a Cloverfield movie." And at the end, they just throw in like the alien in the distance attacking the city.
Oh
Same,
yeah, dude. I'm telling you.
same thing with the last Cloverfield movie, that one that came to Netflix that was in space and
Yep.
everything. Like how it had nothing to do with Cloverfield until at the very end, where she escapes the spaceship and she's going down to Earth, and then there's the alien again from the first movie attacking Earth. I
I
feel
love
like
that original Cloverfield movie.
I
Oh
feel
man.
like that's what this was. Like someone wrote this show. Someone was like read this, like saw, like someone was like trying to get the script out there. Someone saw it, like the producers or something, and said, "I like this idea, but I want to change it into a Resident Evil show. Do you mind if we change some characters' names? And do you mind if we change this company to Umbrella instead of what you want?" And he probably said, "Oh, hell yeah." And I think that's where this came from. I don't think it originally was Resident Evil. Like I can't see how it originally was. That's what it came off to me as. Like this was something else at some point,
I don't. Yeah, I mean, who
and
knows, right?
someone.
That's kind of speculating,
I know
but
it is big time, but I that's what it feels like to me, because like I said, it feels
yeah,
like identity theft from Resident Evil. Like it feels like someone
yeah, I get what you mean
is
for
trying to
sure.
pretend that this is Resident Evil when it isn't. And like anything can be
Right.
done easily, like throwing the dogs in there and everything, making them zombie dogs and all that and stuff. And
Failure to capitalize, my friend. That's what it is. It's just
oh yeah,
failure to capitalize at the highest level. So the only thing I can hope is, and what I can say is that there will be there's going to be some new things coming out soon. So we'll see if the license stays in the hands of the people that it's in
oh no,
currently.
they need to pull that license from, I think it's Constant Films, whatever you call the company that owns the rights to it right now. I feel like
Yeah.
after this, Capcom needs to pull the rights from them.
Hmm.
And PlayStation has their own production company now for movies and TV shows. I mean, they did Uncharted. They're doing the Last of Us TV show. I think it's time that Capcom goes to Sony and says, "We want your PlayStation Studios to take over Resident
Yeah.
Evil Entertainment from now on." Like the Umbrella movie, Uncharted movie wasn't great, but as of a video game, like the most faithful adaptation to possibly a video game, I think is Uncharted. Like it was the most faithful I've ever seen a video game movie be to the games and everything.
Hmm.
Like yeah, like Sully wasn't,
I'm
yeah.
surprised.
Mark Wahlberg as Sully wasn't the best choice and everything. And yes, they
Yeah.
changed the lore of the story, but the only really game they changed the lore of was technically Uncharted 3. Because you really didn't learn too much about young Drake until Uncharted 3, and that's where he meets Sully and everything, so they definitely changed that around a little bit. But that was about
I
it.
haven't had a chance to play those games yet.
And,
That's
like, they're really good.
I gotta play them.
I highly recommend them. They're, like, really good
Yeah.
games. I'm pretty sure you can play. Well, Uncharted 4 is coming to PC soon, and as long as you have PlayStation Plus Premium, I believe they're all free too on PlayStation Plus
Oh wow.
Premium. Like every single one of the Uncharted games are for free and everything to play now. So, like,
Wow, that's crazy.
like those are games I like highly recommend people to play. And like I'm hoping The Last of Us is gonna be good. Like I feel like they have Chernobyl people on board, and like I said, the only thing I'm a little hesitant about is the actress that they chose to play Ellie, where Sadie Sink would have been a much better choice. But I guess
Yeah, it
HBO.
would have fit personality much better
Oh
too.
yeah, HBO definitely probably they have all they had all these people's phone numbers. They had the Mandalorian's phone number from Game of Thrones. They had her phone number from Game of Thrones. So it was probably very easy to get actors for this. Cause I think everybody that's like in this show was in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
So like I'm interested in it. Like I said, I really like Chernobyl, so I like the feeling they gave.
Yep.
So if they can give that same dread feeling, and as long as I can get the same feeling that I got when I played the first game, like I'll be okay with it.
Resident Evil should have been a series on HBO. Should not be with Netflix. It
No,
should be on HBO. And what it should be is a very slow burn horror show about the Arklay murders and the first game.
exactly. And
Right?
like I said, I
So
also the show that I gave the idea about the Rogue One style Star Wars Rogue One style show with the soldiers and everything going in during the entire Raccoon City incident and just have it play out. These are completely new characters that have no tie with the game, and it just goes out. The show happens, and events from the game happen within the show, but they're not there to witness it. It's either in the background or you see them like walking up to a place after that event happened and everything. And I feel like as long as you stick to the source material and you don't try to create your own story away from Resident Evil, like it's gonna be good. Like look what they're doing with the two keepers, how they're literally taking a file. There's like you said, there's a whole nother story there. When you read
yeah,
these files of the people that were in the Spencer Mansion, like you can literally do a show set in the 1950s when Lisa Trevor was there and everything with her family. I think right it was 50s or 60s or
uh, yeah, she was there for a
so
while.
she was there for a while. You can literally do a show about Lisa Trevor, and her parents are dead and everything. You can still include zombies in the show because she probably saw some shit while she was stuck in that lab with her family and everything. And like you could make like a mini series like where not even like a mini series, but each episode is a different person that was like living in the Spencer Mansion when they were doing all the testing, and each
They should
episode
be
is a
following. I
different
think
file. Like you have the
right.
keeper, you have that scientist in the room with the fish tank and the bee and everything. Like that file you'll find in the lab coat. Like each file is its own story alone, and they could honestly make like a Black Mirror style show where like
They should
every
be doing
episode.
a Black Summer. They
Yeah,
should be doing a Black Summer style show is what it should be, and it
like
should be an Outbreak series that's formatted like that. So what I would do is I would have one which is the actual slow burn Arklay murders. I would do the first couple of episodes in black and white.
yes, it would look
I'll
good.
do the first two I do the first two episodes in black and white, and then when the shit kicks on, all of a sudden it freaking transitions and everything is in color. And I would make it crazy. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that you could do there with an HBO show. I think the idea of having a Black Summer format, which goes through different perspectives of different characters, right? You could have like Dario, could have like a chapter. You know what I mean? You could do a show in that same style format. I'll be honest, man. I told you this the other day. I think that show is one of the best horror shows that's been on television. I think Black Summer is one of the best shows on television for horror.
yeah.
I really do.
I'll have to check it out because you were watching it when I was watching Resident Evil. So
Yeah,
I definitely have to check that show out. Now that was that on Netflix or that HBO? Black
that's
Summer.
on Netflix. That you can watch that. There's two
All right.
seasons out. They should be getting a third season, but they're kind of dragging their feet a little bit. But they did for the last one too, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I
But
mean, as long as they take time, as long as they put out good content, I don't care. It's a little worrisome when shows are very put together very quick.
yeah,
It's kind of like how I'm a little worried how like the first three seasons of The Boys, like they took their time in between seasons. Now I understand there was a complete production halt on a lot of stuff in 2020,
yeah.
but the fact that now that they're making a spin-off show that's supposed to come out in between season 3 and season 4,
Mm-hmm.
and they plan on starting to film The Boys season 4 in August. Like, it gets me a little worried now that Amazon might be like, people really like this show, we got to get back to the next season. No, you don't need to. Like, don't rush, take your time. I don't mind waiting 2 years for season 4. You know,
Yeah, that's a
I
good
know,
point. People are
I
very impatient.
I know some, and also this is off topic from Resident Evil, but this is still highly spoiler alert section. But I guess some things got leaked for Comic Con this next weekend coming up, San Diego Comic Con, where I guess the guy who plays Homelander, Anthony Starr, I guess he is going to be revealed that he is in the X-Men movie coming out. So they
Hmm.
basically, it's been leaked that Anthony Starr is going to play what's his name, whatever James Marsden played in the original Cyclops,
Oh yeah,
and Gus from Breaking Bad. I can never say his name, Gusio Esposito, whatever. We know him.
yeah,
It's rumored that he's Patrick Stewart. He's not Patrick Stewart, but he's Professor
yeah.
X and everything. And
Really?
they're gonna bring out the entire cast of the X-Men out on stage. Like, so I think that's why they're getting filming for season 4 immediately, because both those actors are in
Yeah.
The Boys. So I feel like that's why they're
Oh,
probably like, we got to film season 4 fast because we're gonna lose them for a little while they go film X-Men and everything.
that is a good. Yeah,
So
that
like
could be.
I guess that leak came out like today because some people have been like somehow getting photos of like banners already being set up, like being brought into the San Diego Comic Con Convention Center
Oh
and everything.
man.
So like a photo got released today of like Captain America 4 poster and everything, and like so like even now San Diego Comic Con's things are starting to get leaked because you can't. Everyone has a phone. Everyone's always recording, and these people that are literally setting up the convention center are taking photos of things as they're like pulling them out of
Oh
crates and
my
out of
god.
and off the trucks. They're taking pictures of these things and like
Yeah, that's
so
brutal.
yeah
That's
like
brutal. You gotta get if you gotta do something like that. I feel like you gotta get it out of the way right at the beginning.
oh no, definitely, but Marvel always has like their big show thing that comes out and everything. So like I don't know, we'll see what that comes out. But like that's my issue with shows. Is, like I feel like they just need to get them out so fast now. And
Yeah.
whether it's like busy, like people being busy with other shows or anything, like at least with Stranger Things, they already said like 2 years. Like that's what it's gonna 2 years. That's what it's gonna take to get season 5. And it's just how long you have to wait and everything.
Right.
So like I'm
I'm
fine.
willing to wait.
I'm willing to
I
wait. Like I am good to wait. Like is Netflix gonna last that long? I don't know. Like I can definitely see, even though like Resident Evil is getting like a ton of views. Like I said, I looked at it earlier, and
yep.
it's now sitting at number 1 on Netflix right now. So it's the number 1 watch show as of today on Netflix. Um, but if Netflix is starting to lose a lot of money, like they might just decide to can this show anyways.
I don't think the show's gonna make it. To be honest with you,
No,
I think it's gonna get canceled.
and like
Um,
I don't mind. Like I don't need a season 2. Like unfortunately,
Archive 81 in my mind was a significantly better show.
yeah.
And that was canceled after one season. So
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think the only way that I can see it getting it is one because it's obviously such a big IP, right?
Yeah.
But two, um, I think that it's possible that maybe they paid them to make sure that they do 2 seasons. You just never know. They may have an agreement on their end to make so much of it. Um, yeah. So
I'm actually trying to look on Google right now if they have a thing up of like how many people have watched it.
oh, the metrics and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure where to actually like look that up and everything. And they might post it after the weekend or something. Like they might post it tomorrow. That they Netflix may not have like posted their like standings for
Right.
this weekend. So I might have to look it up like a box office thing where you look up the box office and everything, and see like where it stands and everything. But I said like right now, like this morning I went on here just to kind of just get a few more clips from the third. Like it's literally sitting at number one is Resident Evil, then number two is Stranger Things. Number three is a show called Homecoming. I don't know what that is. Number four is a show Alone, and then number five is that DB Cooper thing that we were watching. But like,
Netflix is just rough, man. They got like they have content, right? Netflix has content, but they're dangerously close to getting canceled.
oh yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
and like that's the thing. Like I
Here's a
wouldn't
number, Netflix.
if for like some reason Netflix starts going down. Like Stranger Things will get sold to probably HBO or Showtime immediately. One of them,
Yeah, they'll pick up all of their IPs.
or Amazon. Amazon, I think, or maybe even Disney would jump on it immediately. Actually, I think Disney would actually be the one that could probably actually afford it. But I think there would be like a huge war to who gets Stranger Things and everything if Netflix is to go down.
Yeah.
Because I know they said that Netflix is about to start testing this thing now where you log into Netflix and this is like to go against their password and user sharing thing where it's going to send a text to your phone and you're going to have to like confirm that that's you watching and everything.
That's so crazy.
So like say if you let your friend own your Netflix account and they're like they log in, you're going to get the text, but say if you're sleeping or you're napping or you're somewhere and you can't get to your phone, they're not going to be able to watch it because you're not able to answer like, yes, this is me watching and everything. And I guess that's what a trial thing that they're going to start doing.
You're gonna have a guy that's specifically tasked to come to your house, and he's just gonna walk. He's gonna tuck everybody in at night. He's gonna make sure you're only using your own account.
And like I understand like where it comes from, but like how can all these other I should say really other, but a lot of other like Netflix is not okay with it, but for some reason Disney is okay with you sharing your account and everything, and like I think CBS is okay, well Paramount Plus is okay with it and everything, so like it's gonna come down to that too of like which streaming companies are okay with you using and sharing your password with people and everything because I just don't understand why Netflix is doing so bad on money. Like, they literally have some of the top shows. Like, yeah, they don't come out that often, but I'm assuming people watching Stranger Things, like, I'm assuming the amount of merch that came out for that show, I'm assuming they made a shit ton of money just from that and everything.
Oh yeah,
So,
they're cleaning up over there. Look, everybody gets on Netflix about canceling shows. Do I like it? No, I don't like it. Right?
yeah.
I think it's pretty shitty. I brought up Archive 81 earlier. I thought that show was pretty interesting, and that was cut. The next season has been canceled. So um, they experiment a lot over at Netflix. This is the second show that they've done for the IP. First one being the animated one, second one, being this. And I think Netflix sees this IP as a whole as a win, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to get this particular plot line another season. I think that they might even try and redo it again. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
if you're going to redo it again, you have to do it right. Like, I feel like eventually someone from Hollywood is going to get it right, but it's going to take a lot of
Gotta go to HBO.
It's going to take a lot of fan projects to have somebody finally get it right. So it's going to take, the Resident Evil's Keeper. It's going to take the other Keeper, the Biohazard story. Like, it's going to take a lot of those products to come out for, like, someone from Hollywood to be like, this is what they want. They don't want this bullshit of stuff like where Paul W. Anderson's story went. They don't want this Netflix show. They don't want Welcome to Raccoon City. Like they were close. They came very close, but at the same time, very far. Like all you had to do was base it off one game and not class the two games together. And like it's just, I feel like just Hollywood has to learn what Resident Evil is and what the fans want. And
Dude, I'm telling you, it not only can it be done, it can be done in a tremendous way.
yeah, and
And
like I said, if for some reason Sony and Capcom and Netflix is like listening to this in the future or something, because they're probably going to be reviewing people for what they're saying about the show. Like, just give the rights to Sony Studios. Like, just that's what they're made for right now. That studio company is basically here to make video game entertainment. Like, that's what they're doing. Like, their plan is like for like a Horizon movie, Uncharted, God of War TV show, The Last of Us TV show.
you gotta get somebody that really loves this franchise. You need to get one of those guys who's on there buying action figures for $500 a piece off of
Exactly.
eBay. You gotta get somebody who really knows what the hell they're talking about with this stuff, and stop plugging in somebody just because you think they have an impressive resume.
Oh yeah,
I don't
no,
care what community
exactly.
college you went to. You know what I mean?
You need
It's like,
fans on this. On this, like you need,
yeah,
like you can call yourself a
it's
fan,
TLC.
but like the director that whatever his name was that directed Welcome to Raccoon City. I'm sorry, you're not a fan of the game. Like I
No,
I am sorry. You call yourself a fan, you are not a fan. The fact
yeah, that
that
was
you
not
wanted to
great.
give it its own little twist. That means you play these games, you say, "Oh, it was good, but I would have done this." Then no, I'm sorry. Like take what you got from the source material and transfer it. They did it in a book, so all you have to do is play the first game, read the S.T. Perry book, and then be like, "Okay, I see how we can do this," and then do it. And like it
You
might
should
be
have
a
just had
it
S.D. Perry write a script.
it might be a short movie. I don't mind if it's only 90 minutes long. You know what I mean? Like, because you have to just kind of keep things moving. Like, they're not going to get lost forever trying to figure out, oh, I completely forgot that I had to unlock that door and everything. Like, you can speed run through most of these games pretty fast and everything. And, like, so it's easy to do. And I feel like they just struggle so much
Yeah,
because,
man, dude, S.D. Perry is still alive. Why don't we just get her to write a script?
yeah, well, I guess she forgets what she wrote. I guess that's like doesn't remember writing the book. So that's why we never got like a Resident Evil 4 novel or whatever.
Hmm.
But like, I feel like someone needs to like reach out and say like, I know you probably don't want to do it anymore, but can you please write a script for Resident Evil 1? Like, go back, read your book. You can listen to the Rose Beggy Beg's audiobook and just listen to it and realize what a great story. You took the game, you wrote a story in a book, and you did an amazing job. Now we need to get this from video game to book to script to on the screen in live action. And like it's not that bad, not that hard, I feel. It might seem hard, but I feel like it's not. You can literally like you have the game right there. You can know how you need the hallway to look. You can know how you need items to look. Like it's right there. The source material is there.
And S.D. Perry has written a lot of like game franchise books. I didn't know that. That's really cool. It makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, that's why I can imagine she forgets because just probably constant getting jobs to write different video game stories and everything. Like I understand why your mind can like kind of forget like what you wrote back in the day, but most authors all it would take for them to like just listen to an audiobook of it and be like, "Oh, okay, I know where I was going with this." Just kind of need to jog their memory and everything. But I don't know, like I said, like this show, like I said, I probably give it a 2. Like I said, you give it a 3 out of 10. Like I said, it's probably out of everything Resident Evil, like I put it below Gaiden. I put it below Umbrella Corps
Dude,
even.
Gaiden is a sick game, man. I'm gonna say that.
I put it below Umbrella Corps that game because
No, no way. That game is no way.
like
You're not giving that game enough credit. The fact that that game even fits on that cartridge is like is fucking insane, dude. That's like,
what Gaiden or
yeah.
no, I'm saying also Umbrella Corps. Like I say that
Oh,
I say that these things are better than this Netflix show. Like this.
Oh, Gaiden's better than a lot of
Oh yeah.
things, dude.
This
Gaiden is a not Gaiden's a good game. I will say
this
that.
this Netflix show is like for me it's an all-time low. Like I never thought anything
Yeah.
could be worse than the final chapter. Paul
Oh,
Assassins the final
dude.
chapter. No, no, like I said, like my whole Resident Evil like movie, just like movies and stuff, it just all shifted because of this show. Like this show literally slides all the way to the end and it pushes everything forward.
What if that's their strategy? What if they're like, yo, those games that people hated that we put out the
Well,
last couple of years is
well,
like,
that was a thing that they said that Sony's doing is that they're trying to make everything else look bad that they make now. So when Paul Anderson comes back with a new movie with Mila Djokovic, like you were saying last night, which I was laughing my ass off in the car. Um, no, like they might be trying to make his stuff look better to make people want a sequel. I feel and everything.
it's all a smear campaign
It's just
by Anderson to
he
friggin'
wants
make his movies
he
enjoyed.
he wants everyone to go back to his movie and say, you know what, this is actually enjoyable. So then he'll be like, all right, so I'm making a new movie, and then everyone will be like, okay, this actually might be better, and then they're gonna make a new Paul Anderson Mila movie, Alice movie, and we're just gonna go right back to hating it because like where we left off, like she saved the world, but at the same time she didn't, and
Right.
like so like it leaves it open for a sequel, but again it ends with like dinosaurs kind of in the end because like she's going to a city and there's like a gigantic pterodactyl flying in the sky, but it's not a pterodactyl.
Oh yeah.
um I mean, at least those movies did their own thing.
Yep.
And of course, as we talk more, I know I need to go get some more footage from like the Paul Anderson movies now and everything. But like I said it's gonna be a fun ton load of editing tonight while the Rose streams and everything. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, those movies, like you know, no matter what, the Wesker in this movie, he was a good Wesker. Like in this show, like very good Wesker.
Yeah.
It definitely it no way compares to what that Sean Roberts did in the Paul Anderson movies. Like that was a horrible Wesker who gets killed by a door. After Mila throws the Donald Trump line at him
Right.
and everything. Like that was just so fucking stupid, and they completely retconned the entire series in that one movie. Like they changed the entire past of how the virus broke out and everything, and like I don't know why they decided to do that. But that movie was less like, oh my god, that was so bad. But I never thought anything could be worse than that one. Like I didn't even place Welcome to Raccoon City below that one because that was automatic, like the worst Resident Evil thing ever. But now there's a new placeholder for that, so I can no longer say that the final chapter is the worst Resident Evil thing out there. We now have a new thing, and it's this show called Resident Evil on Netflix, which I also going back to. I'm just going to keep talking. I didn't understand the title sequence, like how it shows the R, the E, and then just the V. Like I felt like why are they calling this Resident Evil 5? Like every
Hmm.
episode would begin with it would show like the R flash and the E, and then it would show the V flash. So like why were they pushing so much towards Resident, like maybe not, like it's just me, people don't really use Roman numerals as much anymore. And some people might not even know what Roman numerals are and everything. But a V is a 5.
Right.
And so why, and Resident Evil's been doing that now for the past 2 games, using Roman numerals in Evil. They did it for 7 and they did it for 8. Well, they put it in Village for 8 and everything. So, like, were they just trying to do the same thing here? But I just don't understand why they were trying to connect it with 5, where the only mention of 5 was just saying that Wesker died in a volcano and everything. And I just didn't get the point of that.
Yeah.
I know, like, yesterday someone said something in the chat of the row, and I didn't want to spoil it, like, in the chat. But, like, when they said, like, the blood on the title looks like someone spit a loogie, and that was hinting at that saliva was going to be the answer to,
Right.
like, the neurotoxin or whatever.
Yes.
And, like, that all clicked in my head when the person said that in the chat. I was like, oh, okay, that explains a lot.
Right.
But but yeah, no, like I said, like I might have to watch Welcome to Raccoon City again to really watch it and see like is it as bad as this Netflix show and everything, which I kind of want to do like a watch thing now on the Discord where we watch all Resident Evil like movies and then we actually like see how bad some of the stuff actually is now. And like we can start with the Andersons, go through all the Anderson movies, and then we can move on to the CG movies, which they're all right. Um, and then we can move on to Welcome to Raccoon City, and then not even probably don't even watch Netflix again because we all know it's just bad. We just know there's no need to watch it, but we can say like, all right, so some of this stuff actually is not as bad now that we look back on it and stuff, and we took some of the stuff like for granted, and like it just keeps getting worse and worse as it goes on. I feel like ever
I
since
think,
ever since the final chapter, like the
yeah,
movies have just been getting worse and worse and worse. Like just when you think it's gonna get like better, it gets worse, and then like all right, well this show can't be as bad as Welcome to it is. So like they have to be very careful with what they do next, like what their next step is. Like be tread lightly here because you can't make something worse. I feel, but we've said that multiple times now, and they have. And like
they have an interesting strategy. They're like, well, let's just keep making things progressively worse, and then eventually some of our old stuff will look actually good.
exactly, like I said, like Apocalypse is a well, the first Resident Evil movie is actually pretty good. It's kind of scary. It was doing its own thing. Then they came out with Apocalypse. They tried connecting it to the games a little bit. It's a good sit at home popcorn flick. You just bored. Oh look, Resident Evil Apocalypse is on, or like, what do I want to watch today? And oh look, Netflix added Resident Evil Apocalypse. Let's watch that. Extinction. I don't know. That movie it has its moments. It has its moments where it's horrible and everything. My favorite
Yeah.
part about Extinction is honestly the tyrant at the end and everything.
Oh, I know, dude. The tire. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The tyrant's pretty cool at the end of that movie. Afterlife was completely different. I think for the most part, people like that movie because it came out like after Avatar, and that's when 3D was in, and
Yeah.
it was like after Avatar, it was like the next like best 3D movie that was out there and everything. Like where people
Yeah, I
like
remember going to see that. I saw
3D
that
and
at IMAX theater in
like
3D, and that was
you
great.
thought the 3D in Avatar was cool. Wait till you see Apocalypse, not Apocalypse, Afterlife. It was like, wow, this 3D is amazing. I remember like just that beginning scene where it's like zooming out
They
on
had
the Earth,
Piranha 3D.
and then it's like zooming in on the Earth. I remember actually making it actually felt like the theater was like spinning, like the IMAX theater was spinning with it and everything. I'm like, wow, this. So like that hits differently. You watch it now, not on 3D, and like you're watching it like this movie looks like shit. Like
Right.
when they're flying through LA, you can clearly tell it's a model city. They just pull the Thomas the Tank Engine, and they have like probably some guy like holding a string, and the plane just going through like a model city. Because you look at the buildings burning, and you can clearly tell they're models.
Right.
Like they look like model buildings, and like right now you'll see it on the screen. Definitely, I'll have it up on the screen. That exact scene and everything.
Right.
Um, Then Retribution, that's my guilty pleasure movie. I really like Retribution. I felt
Yeah,
like
Retribution is not bad. I like Retribution. I like Apocalypse.
I didn't like even the ending
I
wasn't
like
too
I like
bad.
half of Apocalypse.
Yeah, even the ending wasn't too bad. Like them all coming to the White House and everything. Okay, it was a fun movie. It had fun with the characters, all that stuff. Like they were just you could tell with that movie they were having fun. Like they're like, all right, we're at a point now where we're just gonna keep making these movies. Let's just have a fun movie. Let's bring some people back. We'll just say they're clones because we already worked clones into the story and everything, and let's just have a
Yeah.
fun movie of like Alice being stuck in a lab, and Ada Wong is set to rescue her, and as they're
It
going
had a
through the
Vin
lab,
Diesel family vibe to it. It
it
was
did,
like
it did,
it's pretty cool.
and like I know, like I said, like in that movie, Ada's that's not the voice actors because the actress that played Ada can't actually speak English, so it's a voice dubbing, and it sounded like they got either someone very close to Ada's voice from Resident Evil 4, or they actually did get what's her name to play Ada's voice and everything. Sandy Cahill, I think, right? Or,
I think so.
yeah.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I have to look at the credits for. Cause I can pull it up right now. Hold on. Let's go to. Let's type in Resident Evil. So first, let's go to Google because I know I'm not gonna type that on Netflix. And like I know, because the actor it was like Lee Bing, but it wasn't her. It wasn't her voice playing it, so like I'm not sure if it's gonna say on Google like who actually was the voice of Ada Wong in that. But it was like on par with like Ada's voice from the games. I feel like they did a really good job of that. Yeah, they made Leon somewhat of a pervert in the movie. Um, but who played him? Leon, I forget. I think it was the guy that was just Jonathan Erb. I forget what he was in, but he was kind of like a I don't know, pervert. How he just like at the end of the movie, he's like grasps Ada's leg and he like squeezes it for some reason. Like that wasn't that's no, that's not Leon. Ada would do that to Leon to freak him out, and Leon being like the shy
Oh,
person that he is.
Leon's kind of a dog, man. Leon turns into kind of a dog, doesn't he?
Kind of, but like when it comes to Ada, he's like he has that like he likes her, so he's like shy around her and everything. And everything, I feel
To an
like he gets
extent, I think that kind of dies out.
yeah, you know it does, but like he never like in the games, Leon never made like a sexual advantage. Like, hey, Ada, let's have sex. You know what I
He
mean?
never has any. He never has a chance to. She's always falling off something.
Oh yeah. So you know, but like so that movie was decent and everything. You know, I like the ending part with the Las Plagas and everything, and they kind of recreate the scene from New Five where they have to like rip the chest piece off and everything,
Right, right.
and then they end the movie. You know, they're on top of the White House, or yeah, they're on top of the White House, and there's all the bioweapons, and then like that's it. Like we don't see them ever again. Like all those characters, like they just die, I guess, like years in, and then like we fast forward years later to the final chapter, and Jill and Ada and Leon, like they're all dead somehow, and then just you know Claire, who was missing through the entire fifth movie, just magically reappears and everything, and
Kind of like Captain Marvel.
yeah, like they just kind of kill people off screen, and I'm just like, why would you end a movie on a cliffhanger like that, thinking, oh, good, the final chapter is going to be this movie where
Yeah,
we have like everybody teaming up to finally take down Umbrella, and even Wesker's on their side. And I'm like, this is going to be a great movie. And then they just take a complete like 180 turn and make whatever they made for the final chapter and everything.
yeah.
And I didn't get that, and you know, then for years we went with nothing, and then we got this, and Welcome to Raccoon City, and
Pretty disappointing.
oh yeah, it's been a few disappointing like I said, I really think like JJ said like right away he had a bad feeling about this Netflix show, but again the trailers did their job. They
Right.
changed your, they did what the trailers for this show did what a trailer is supposed to do, get you intrigued, make you think you like it,
Yep.
and deception, mind deception, like make you see things in the trailer and they really aren't as a big of a role or a part. So like for all these promotions, putting the liquor on like a poster, literally the promotion in New York City, Times Square, is a liquor breaking out of a cage.
It's pretty sick.
That it's really cool looking. Like I love how they have that 3D advertising thing in Times Square. I forget what was up there when I was there, like a year ago in New York City, but I remember seeing that billboard. Like, oh, that's a really cool billboard. I think it was just like a lion or something in a cage, like walking back and forth and growling. I think it was just like a test or whatever when they first had it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But like, okay, but don't advertise the liquor if the liquors are only gonna be in episode 3, and that was it 3 or was it 2? I think episode 2. Yeah, episode 2 is when the liquors are in. Like they're only in episode 2, and that's it. And then you never see the liquors again. Like they're in that tunnel, they escape, they're gone. Same thing with the spiders. You see a dog one more time, but it's a hallucination and everything. And
Right.
I wish that they just didn't do like a. I wish like when they were running through the lab at the end, they could have been running through a lab to get out, and they could have been running past this room with like tons of creatures. Like they really could have gone all out, but I also felt like they ran out of money by the season
I think they
finale.
used all their CGI budget on that giant dinosaur that they had.
Yeah, I think because like at that ending part, like you could have done so much more, and they're trying to escape that lab. Like,
Right.
Evelyn could have been sending everything at them, like hunters, lickers, the dogs, and then, last but not least, the tyrant or at least a Mr. X could blast through the wall at the end and everything. Like they could have been throwing everything Umbrella had at them to try to stop them from escaping.
Right.
And I think that would have been a lot cooler if you did that instead of just a gigantic alligator. If you do this, like, just this scene of them trying to escape, and all of a sudden, like, a hunter comes out, and, like, you could have had a few, because they constantly did, like, the Star Trek, the red shirt people in that show, which was just the Umbrella Soldiers, where, like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, in the end, when Billy is fighting with the alligator, she runs away alone at first when she's the alligator coming, and then all of a sudden she has a soldier next to her as they're running. And I was like, oh, that soldier's gonna die. And sure enough, he gets impaled by the drone and dies. So they could have added a few more like characters that you knew were gonna die, like Simon. Where if you were surprised that Evelyn was gonna shoot Simon after he got bit, like I saw that coming from a mile away. I knew she was just gonna pull a gun and shoot him. When Wesker said like, I can save him, just let them go. I'll work on the antivirus. I knew she was just gonna put him down and saying, no, I don't need him. Like I saw that coming. That wasn't a surprise at all,
Yeah.
and everything. So like, but you could at least kept Simon
Very
alive.
predictable.
Yeah, like Simon could have been kept alive for like a hunter beheading him. I think would have been a lot cooler.
Yeah, they don't, it's so weird to me that they don't show the hunters like ever.
No, only in that new movie coming out, The Keeper, the Keeper's Diary.
Yep.
Like
That's
we
it.
see the hunter finally in the trailer for that and everything, and like the CG wasn't that good. Like the dog in this move in the trailer looked good, but for the most part, they kept a lot of the monsters in darkness or in red to hide the bad CGI. But if you really pause on the dog looks horrible. The lickers, it's very quick, flashy lights when you see them, so they can hide how they actually look for the most part. So, like I said, I think they definitely blew their budget on that alligator because the alligator looked
Oh
really,
yeah, they definitely did.
that looked amazing, that alligator, and it makes you wonder why Marvel movies sometimes the CG can look horrible when you see like, look at what this freaking Resident Evil, this show is fucking horrible, it's shit, but look at this alligator, Marvel, like come on, fix your fucking
They could have
fix
they could
your
have
green
put
screens in your movies.
they could have put like a couple of thousand people through school, but instead they decided to make that alligator.
Yeah, no, like there could have been so much other things they could have done, and the
Crazy.
alligator looked cool, but I'm sorry, like you could have had anything else but the alligator. You didn't really need any big like creature in that. You could have saved the creature money for the past
Right.
and just thrown all these bio weapons at them, and I think it would have been like so much cooler if like you had tons of callbacks to like all the games as they're running down this hall and like all these creatures. It'd be kind of like, I understand it'd be kind of like Cabin in the Woods ending.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that would be so cool if all these doors open and like hunters come walking out, bandersnatches come walking out, and like, you know, I think that would just be so cool if all of a sudden that Umbrella facility, there's just soldiers getting destroyed by all these different enemies that we see in the games and everything. Like, that'd have been so cool. Like, you didn't have to show too much. You could have shown like Yawn come out or something, and just like, okay, that would have been really cool. But again, we're giving the show way too much credit, and I just feel like something like that would have been cool. But who knows? Like I said, it's Hollywood. They make the decisions, and they're always right when they make their Hollywood decisions. but yeah, we're hitting about 2 hours now.
I know. We talked forever.
Geez, it's a good first podcast. I was expecting like 45 minutes, but
No, we got a good amount of
oh yeah,
a good amount of discussion.
like I said it's not gonna be
Pretty
too
cool.
much editing because I don't have to worry about audio. I'm not gonna really cut out any of this audio. Like I said, it's just gonna be putting clips and stuff where they rightfully belong and everything, and it's just going to be
Gotcha.
that and everything and all that. So, but for the most part, yeah. But yeah, like I said, it was a good first podcast. Like I said, pretty much trashing this show. I'm sorry if this hurts. I'm
Dragging
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry if this hurts anybody that actually liked the show. Like I said, I'm not. It's not attacked at you guys. It's pretty much just attacked at how I feel and how I feel like Resident Evil fans should honestly
Let it out,
not like
man.
this.
Let it out.
Let it out. Like I said, if you like it, that's good. Like I said, people liked Welcome to Raccoon City. Like I said, I admitted I do like some of the Paul S. Anderson movies. Like my guilty pleasure is Retribution. I do enjoy them. Like I say, out of all of them, I probably final chapter is like the least amount enjoyable. But like I can watch things again. Like anything Resident Evil, I can probably watch again. I said I can probably sit through Welcome to Raccoon City again now. But this Netflix show is something that I probably will never, ever again go back to. It's something I will not buy merch for. I will not buy the soundtrack for this. I will not listen to the soundtrack for this. It's just something I am not interested in. And it's something I want to pretend like doesn't exist in the Resident Evil universe at this point. And I'm assuming eventually we will all slowly forget about this. You know, we have.
I don't know about that.
I mean, in time, we got to get the Resident Evil 4 remake out. Hopefully, Capcom is working on an apology. Like I said, Outbreak File 1 and 2 on PlayStation Plus Premium would not be a bad idea. We'll give it some PlayStation 5 internet support, and I think that's enough as an apology. I would take that as an apology. Even if they just put Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the PlayStation Plus Premium, that might be enough for me. Give the old game some love and support for the fans right now, because that's what we need. We need some love and support from Resident Evil and Capcom right now to get us out of this hatred that we have right now for Resident Evil.
Oh, dude, look, you can see like veterans of this like just getting very bitter.
Oh yeah, it's gonna cause bitterness, and I'm wondering where JJ and Corey are in the show. I wonder if they binged it all last night and they're done now, or if it's gonna be a slow watch for them and everything. But like, I was pretty much on accurate point of how they were gonna feel about Welcome to Raccoon City after I saw it. Like I left that there, and I'm like, oh, JJ's gonna fucking hate that movie. And like, sure enough, I was right. So like, when I say that JJ is gonna absolutely hate this and actually have a point of like, I don't think I can finish watching this, I really think that's how he's gonna feel by the end of this. Like, I already know Tony's feeling towards it. I can already hear him. I honestly don't think he can have words for this. Like, for this show. Like Beggy will always, she'll try to make some good out of it, but in the end, I feel like even this is something like even she can't get on board with. Like,
We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I haven't talked to Becky. I don't know how.
yeah, like I said, she posted.
I wonder if she does like it.
She posted one tweet saying that there's stuff that she likes about it, and there's a lot of stuff she doesn't like about it, and everything. So I think I forget where she was in the show when she said that, but I think she was more leaning towards like she didn't like the direction that this actually went in, and I don't think many people liked the direction that this went in and everything. And like I said, Resident Evil's never been like that Walking Dead style thing. It's always been just a disease, a viral outbreak. It's never really been something that overtook the world, and I don't know why they just think that's what Resident Evil is when it comes to filmmaking and everything. Like it's something that can be contained. It just takes a bomb or something to contain it, or fire to contain it. But yeah, I'm really interested as this week goes on how more Resident Evil fans feel about this. Person I'm really interested in is Joseph Whitehouse. I know he said he was watching it last night. I'm really interested in his reaction. And also like Atazukin, because I know he liked Welcome to Raccoon City. So I'm really interested in what his thoughts and feelings are, because I know he said he was watching that last night as well.
Look, you should be internally grateful to this show. It is helping people who have never been able to walk to be able to stand up to go and turn it off. The mute are finally speaking to request that someone shut it off. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's this show is bringing forth miracles, and
I said
let's try to not be ungrateful.
I did see a meme in the show that I'm gonna create it like probably while I'm editing this video, and it's the scene where um, future Jade, goes into the tent where Billy's hiding, and Evelyn's in there, and she starts like singing and dancing for some unapparent reason, and then like she like shuts off because I don't know what she actually is in the future. But there's that one scene where like how Billy's saying that she keeps her around to like you know get the hate and everything. And then she
Right.
does like that high five. She quickly wakes up and high fives and goes back down. I'm like, that's the perfect meme to like when you're sitting at the bar and you've had way too much to drink, and then you hear your friends say, "You want a shot?" and everything. It's like that's like a perfect meme right there that I'm gonna have to create and everything because like the show is filled with meme worthy stuff and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
Like that show is just it's filled with it. Like I said, the blowing raspberry thing, that part and everything. Like there's probably even more of like stuff you can fill this show up with, like when Wesker's like rubbing the blood on his face and everything, when he wants to make it look like he killed the zombie dog and everything. Like I don't know, there's so much stuff in this show that I can just go through, but I just don't think I have the will to like. I feel like Kylo Ren at the end of the first like newest Star Wars movie, where I know I can, but I don't know if I have like if I can or whatever. Like however he says it, that's how I feel about going through this show and like grabbing a bunch of like clips and stuff from it. Like I just don't know if I have the will to do it. and sit there and try to find where it is in each episode. Like getting clips for this podcast was hard enough going through and like realizing how bad some of the stuff actually was and everything.
Oh, trust me. I had to I had to go back and watch some stuff because I was like I wanted to make sure I got it right the first time.
Now you watched the whole thing with Hills, right? On here on Discord.
Uh he was here but he didn't actually watch it.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Because I know I was gonna join you, but I ended up being like a lot busier at that detail that I was doing than I thought I was gonna be, so I couldn't even watch in the first 8 hours of my 16-hour day.
Right.
But I saw that he was in there with you and everything, so I wasn't sure, like, because I want to know what he felt like. I mainly want to see how every Resident Evil fan feels, because I know like Chelsea, she hasn't had even the want or need to stop watching it again, and she only watched one episode. Layla stopped after episode 5. I told her just watch the first like opening minutes of 6 and then be done. You do have to see the Wesker part at the opening of 6 and everything.
Yeah.
I said that's something that's worth just seeing, and then you can stop it. But yeah, most people I feel like can't get through it, and like that's fine and all. Like can't get through it, but like for like you, me, like we want to talk about it, so we do have to watch the full thing. And that's why I feel bad for so many Resident Evil YouTubers because so many of them have to sit through this because they're gonna make videos and they have to watch the full thing
You
to
have to
actually
if you want to
talk about
speak
it.
on something you have to
Yeah, you
you
have
have
to
to
watch
see
the
the
whole
whole
thing.
thing. Yeah.
You can't only watch like 5 episodes and say I like the show because you have to watch the last three. Because the last three are going to change your mind. Like you said to me when I said I just got through 5 and said 5 was not that bad, and you said like, well, just wait till the next three. And oh my god, like 6, 7, and 8 were just absolute dog trash of episodes. Just
Yeah,
absolute
not good.
absolute trash, and like just I hated it so much. And yeah, that's just where I pretty much leave it. I keep circling around to just telling you guys how much I hate this show so much, but that's honestly how I feel. Um, but yeah, anything else you wanna throw out about it before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think overall that what we can take away from it is it's just too experimental.
Exactly, yeah. It was very. You're right. It was very experimental. They definitely tried a bunch of different things. They tried a new way of a show and everything. And I'm sorry, like you got to stop trying to attract new fans to Resident Evil. I feel like no matter what, people will watch it, even if it is not like a teen drama show. Like, people will watch it. People always like horror,
Capcom acts like they're trying to earn their fan base, and they don't act like they already have one.
Yeah, no, they have it. And, like, the problem with that is they're slowly pushing their fans away, like, by making Resident Evil 7, like, very scary. That made the old fans happy. But then they're like, oh, well, some of the new fans didn't like how scary it was, so we're going to make Village a little less scary. No, no, please, no, don't. Just keep
So
where
you
you
already
were,
have your audience. You don't
keep
need
where you
anybody
were
else.
going with. You don't need new people. Oh, well, you're going to have Resident Evil fans, no matter what, are going to follow you to the end. We're this
Right.
far in. Like, if we still play Resident Evil 4 Remake after this show, that's because we're fans. You're going to have some people that might swear off Resident Evil, not even touch the Resident Evil 4 Remake, because
Right.
they can't differ the games from this live action media that they keep trying to put out and trying to make something good of the story where the source material is already there and just use what you have. But there's no need to experiment with
I
Resident
don't know
Evil.
why everybody hates the source material so much, but
I don't know. It's an easy.
I don't know what it is.
It's so easy. It's so good. But
See,
yeah,
it's right there.
everyone watching this podcast, please, in the comments, let us know what you thought of Resident Evil Netflix. And let us also know what you guys think of everything Resident Evil, like games, the Paul F. Anderson movies, Welcome to Raccoon City, the CG movies. Like, let us know what you think of everything Resident Evil. This podcast, this one is about Resident Evil. Other podcasts will be about other things as we go on and everything. We'll talk about different games, different movies, different topics and everything and all that stuff. So, if you like the podcast style stuff, please subscribe to the channel. Also do live streams and everything. They'll be on the weekends and stuff. So, and also other videos coming soon to the channel. So look forward to all that this is like the beginning of my channel now, again, as I'm rebranding. So welcome to episode 1 of Game Time Podcast. You can also, I'll have the link in the description, but Kascade, you have your YouTube channel. You can subscribe to his channel as well. Check out his channel. He live streams games and everything. Had a great Quarry playthrough and everything, which was fantastic. And
Yes.
everything. So make sure you subscribe to his channel. And also, like I said, any other channel I mentioned in this, I will post the link. So Residents of Evil, Beggy Beg Beg, New to Retro Reviews. Go subscribe to them all. All fantastic Resident Evil content. If you are a Resident Evil fan, all these channels are a place to be. So I hope to see you guys in the next one. And have a great time. Well, great day, not time. No, why I said that. I'm reading my logo. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.